Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition here. Another broadcast of the LiuLi Cup 2025 Grand Finals Group B. I'm of course your side VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chats as well. Welcome, one and all. We are back. We have returned here with the second group of the event. Again, LiuLi Cup, for those who are unaware, is a long-running kind of monthly tournament. It did run throughout the course of 2025, and now coming into 2026, we are bringing together all the best players that competed in said tournament, seeding them together into one massive event, into a group stage, into eventually the playoffs. A couple of days ago, we already covered Group A. Now we're going to be jumping into Group B. Let's go. Let us go. Let us switch our scenes over and catch up on the group itself. For those that are curious, this is a GSL format group, GSL group stage into the eventual playoffs. That means that two players will advance on into the next round. The other two will be knocked out of the tournament. For this event, though, for this group, we do have four players. We have Clem, we have Rogue, Shin, and Cyan. Two Zergs, one Terran, one Protoss. Cyan, of course, he has been less active as of late. I will say, though, he was less active compared to in previous years. But I know there's been a lot of Chinese events. I mean, we cover them every single time during the podcast. There are so many Chinese events. Cyan has been more active and competing more in those events as well. Infamously, of course, Cyan did take down Maru last year in, I think it was Masters Coliseum towards the beginning of 2025. Cyan, he has some killer TVP, but what about his PvZ? We'll get there. We'll get there. First things first, though, we're going to be jumping into a Terran versus Zerg matchup. Clem versus Rogue. They're going to be facing off in that Terran versus Zerg matchup. And we'll see how they compare. We'll see how they face off as we jump into game one. Game one is going to be on Ruby Rock. Let's go. Again, we are going to be jumping in. Still recovering from last night, as of course yesterday we did have a lot of content. We were going through KSL, going through Ducklings Open. Even later on this evening we do have Sparkling Tuna Cup as well. So again, back to back broadcast. Let's go, baby, let's go. So jumping in and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the French Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg. It is Rogue. Test. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was just testing out some audio settings, but here we go. We're jumping on into our first series of the broadcast, into our best of three. Getting into this, Clem, he, I would say, has the best TVZ in the world. He's an animal. He's a beast. There's a reason why he looked as strong as he did against several at Home Story Cup, and often does, just period, whether it's at EWC, Home Story Cup, other big major events. Clem is coming in as a heavy favorite here, but what I will say is that Rogue, he is a very unorthodox player at times. He does things his own way, and he can cause some slip-ups and even approach the meta in his own kind of way as well. Infamously, what was it, 2 years ago at Stars Agora, we had Rogue defeat Clem. True. That was when Rogue, he first showcased his hyper late game kind of mass lurker, mass overseer style, where he was just covering everything in overseers, going for mass lurkers as well as, sorry, mass Nidustorms I meant to say, as we had changelings all over the place, Nidustorms all over the place. The mass overseer was able to cover all the lurkers to avoid any kind of snipes, to protect them as well. It was crazy, this kind of style that we saw again a couple of years ago. The problem is that we saw that rise up and we saw that do well, and it did so well because players were so unaccustomed to playing against it, and then it fell off. It fell off after a couple of months, just because players got used to it. They got used to shutting it down, setting up their tanks, and even just killing Rogue before we could actually get to that point as well. So we'll see if Rogue has something new to bring to the table this time. For now, Hatch Gas Pool, Standard Opener, going for a third expansion. Everything's looking normal. At the same time, Rax Expand out of Clem, not going double gas, not going 2x Reaper or any kind of shenanigans early on. Now, Clem, he's one of those players that is willing to go 1-1-1 and be hyper aggressive in the early to mid game, more so than other Zerg, also other Terran players. So he will punish you if he sees an opportunity. He'll punish, he will threaten. As the Reaper pokes in, pulls away. Behind this, third CC. So okay, so third CC before Starport. Economic build, economic follow-up here out of Clem. We're calming down. Of course, welcome to Ruby Rock. Ruby Rock is one of the smaller maps of the map pool, and we do often see a lot of aggression here. Oh, This Reaper is going to be turned away. I wouldn't be surprised if Rogue does play Roaches here. We've still yet to confirm the tech of choice. Clem, we do now see a second Rax before Starport, so a 3cc 2-1-1. This is going to be a heavy bio commitment into earlier Tech Lab, earlier Stim, earlier Marine production, earlier Bio. The difference, of course, is that this, I say earlier, this will hit around 5:30. Around 5 minutes 30 is when we can start to move out across the map. The Starport is delayed in favor of the faster expansion, so this is, again, an economic variation of 2-1-1. As it should be stopping and cutting Hellion production at 4. So far, 2 Hellions, should be making an extra pair and then add-on swapping into Reactive Marine. If we keep making Hellions, that's indicative of Hellbats. Link pokes in, Link gets a full scout, very nice. As Zergling does confirm both Raxes, there's the add-on swap, no Hellbats. Again, swaps into Marine production. Meanwhile, Rogue is going to be going Evo Chamber first. Again, he did scout the 2 Raxes, so his response should be +1 Carapace. That is the standard response. Is again Carapace. Still just joining up. Clem is looking for a window. He finds a way in. Oh, yeah, he does find a way in. He goes for the dive. He gets one. Just one. One drone goes down. But again, you have to be so careful here against Clem. Clem, he's more than willing to dive in if he sees an opening. He will commit into a mineral line. And Rogue has to be careful. There's that Carapace upgrade, as I mentioned. Is on the way. The reason why this is the go-to against a 2-on-1 is because of the high attack rate of the Marine. And of course, Carapace applies to every single attack. So you get the most value out of Carapace. Likewise, it does help your Link Bane, a more vulnerable army, to survive, to collapse on the army, to engage. So also in Carapace into Lair, into eventually Baneliness, into second Evo Chamber, into 1-1. So everything is looking pretty normal from Rogue. I mentioned earlier that Rogue at times can be a little bit more unorthodox. That is not the case here. This is as standard as standard can be from our Zerg side. Meanwhile, we did say that the 2-on-1 hits out around 5:30. There it is, 5:30. 5:30, double drop moves out. He's here in time to deny the 4th base. Can he get a kill? Oh no, he sims in. Yeah, he does stim. Ooh, that's a kill, not a cancel. Late reaction out of Rogue. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, a rough start here for our Zerg player. Losing an entire expansion is brutal. Likewise, that's a kill on the Spore Crawler. Goes to Zerglings, kills the Queen. Oh god. This is becoming too much, Pappy. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, far too much here. Queen, Lings, thankfully no economic damage outside of killing the 4th base. So very delayed 4th expansion. Now, this is where the dominoes start falling one after the other. I don't want to call it yet, but typically when a Zerg player is denied their 4th base in such a fashion, this means less creep, this means less economy, this means less production. Losing a hatchery like that is a massive blow to the Zerg, and it means that the 7-minute push, the later move out with tanks this time, is going to hit harder. Now I say 7-minute push, was a 3cc 2-on-1, so tank production was delayed, true. Against a standard 1-1-1 build, we'd already have like 2-3 tanks amassing to be able to push across the map. Here the tank count is much lower, so Clem might be a little bit more passive when it comes to his main army move outs. He can still be active with his drops though. But now taking a defensive stance. Waiting for 1-1 upgrades. And a 4cc. Okay, 4cc is on the way, extra gases are on the way, so Clem, he's building up into a longer later game. As you can see here, he's moving out with his drops, that is true, but he's keeping everything else back at home. So Clem is ahead, he's getting further ahead, or the goal is to get further ahead. He's not looking to kill. Catching up some Lings, nice target firing. Just gaining more value. Catching on more tumors. Rogue is still trying to rebuild. Trying to keep up. Again, we'll see if he can. As now Clem is pushing. Here's moving out at 8 minutes. The Changeling does spot the move out. Rogue is aware. Up! Jesus. So Clem will lose 1 Marine. Rogue is not in position. Thankfully, this is a 5th expansion, so he can afford to cancel, and hopefully he does this time. ALC coming. Should be seeing that. Yep, cancellation. Oh my god, the SCVs, they come back too soon. They come back too soon. 6 SCVs go down. At the same time, Banelings do collapse on the army. And Rogue is holding. Oh, good. So just there we go. So Rogue does hold on. Does force a pickup. And behind this, Rogue is taking up in towards Infestors and Hive Tech. He's trying to refine his army. I'm not too sure if the goal here is to go into Lurkers yet. Based on the Hydra upgrades, there's a higher chance we do get into Lurkers. That is the way to slow the game down. To embrace that later game. Okay, let's go. Yeah, I do feel like Clem, he has he's dealt some decent damage so far, but there we go. Sense Tower's on the way. He's getting ready to turtle up. Thankfully, he's going for another move out. He gets spotted by the creep. Rogue is aware. I do feel like Rogue has too much army here on the south side. Does have a fungal though. Does have that one fungal. The main comes in. Decent fungal. Oh my god, very nice. You're catching out the army and Rogue is holding. Rogue, he does hold on at the same time. Oh, Bailey's a crashing across the map as well. Clem, he was inattentive. Massive connections. So Rogue is catching Clem off guard. Rogue again is trying to hold on. Behind this, he's now joining up to 86. He's now taking up towards Lurker Tech with a Stilla window, right? The Stilla window in time, pre-Lurker, where Rogue is vulnerable, and here comes Clem. He's almost maxed. Where are the Banelings? Ooh, there's only 8. Banelings are not ready for this. He's heavily reliant on that fungal. He's got, what, 2, soon to be 3 fungal growths. And the passes are coming in. Oh my god, massive mine shots. Fungal does graze the army. There's not much of a follow-up though. And Clem is rallying. Clem is rallying across the map. Again, we're still heavily reliant on those fungals. Does miss. 2 fungals left. There's 2 left. Oh, massive connection. Okay, let's go. Yeah, Clemmy clumped. He clumped up way too much there. And Rogue is holding. He's holding on. Lurker upgrades are coming in. Here come the first wave of Lurkers. And Rogue holds. He holds on. Again, Clem, just a little bit too inattentive. He was clumping up so much against the fungals. And now he's forced attack. We do have the fusion core on the way. That's going to be healer red range. We should be seeing a Ghost Academy soon as well. Not yet. Just switching into libs. Yeah, scan reveals the Lurkers. Clem, you cannot push into this. Not anymore. Clem, he can still be aggressive. He can go for drop play. He can go for split pushes. But there are so many Lurkers now. There's 12. And there's a Ghost Academy. So Clem is taking up. Oh, he attempted to drop into the main. Once again takes the fungals to the face. Oh my god. Losing so many Marines. Clem, por favor, split, papi, split. That's what, the 3rd or 4th big fungal that we've seen so far this game. And with that, Clem has lost any kind of map control. He's stuck at home. Rogue cannot be the aggressor. Clem still needs more time for more liberators, for more ghosts. Clem isn't there yet. Oh. He's not quite there. Aliens, they roll in. They delay some mining. Oh, killing the CC. Even sniping some liberators here, not bad. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 liberators. Rogue's trading well, but he needs more Zerglings. Can he hold his own? It's close. There's 4 lurkers left. Down to 3, 2 lurkers. And lurkers, they barely hang on. They barely hang on. We have Night Storms on the way to reinforce across the map. More lurkers have arrived. Rogue still forcing his way in. And he's up against the wall. Just needs to build up more time or buy more time for more liberators, more ghosts. He's got 2 ghosts so far. Nice into the main. Clem's in position. Oh my god. Free damage. And Rogue just collapses in once again. Clem is out of position. The base is going to be denied. CC may even go down. Barely does. And Clem, can he push into the natural? He's so close. Can he go for the kill? As lurker shots are going up. Clem being zoned away. Nice from does finish. These lurkers, they get in, they get on top of the ramp, but oh, the ramp! Yeah, GG gets called. He gets into the main base, takes over the ramp, and Rogue takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Clem, sorry, Rogue, he does claim a lead in the series here. Again, Clem, initially he was playing very well. He was doing well when it comes to his 2-on-1, when it comes to his drop play, killing the 4th base as well. There were some big wins early on there. Unfortunately, as we mentioned, once lurkers came into play, we saw, I mean, I guess technically it was pre-lurker actually. Once infestors came into play, Clem was punished, and the first time was fine because it was the revelation of the infestors, but time and time again we saw some massive fungals. We saw that Clem was pushing but clumping up his army very hard and was vulnerable. He was vulnerable to those fungals. He was punished time and time again, and Rogue was able to take better fights, better engagements, and then eventually get into lurkers. Did get there in the end. GG, well played. With that, Rogue takes the lead in the series, and we'll see if Clem can recover coming to game number 2. Let's go. Loading into game 2, going to be loading into Winter Madness. One of the larger maps in the map pool. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner. Bottom right hand corner here of Winter Madness, we have the French Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Rogue, who is leading the series 1-0. And we'll see if he can claim it here and now. Now we're loading into a larger map now. I would imagine that Clem is going to adjust his approach. Last game he did go for a 3cc 2-on-1. On a larger map we're expecting to see just a more standard economic opener into a 3rd base, into a greater 4th base, and towards a longer and later game. We'll see if Clem gets there. I don't know if he wants to, but he could try to reach that point in a better position, in a faster position, and kind of tech up a little bit faster as well. Clem, he has some options. Does have some options here, but already a very impressive display there at a Rogue, just showcasing his defensive prowess more than anything. As Clem was the aggressor last game. Likewise, you could see the other extreme of things. You could see Clem just be even more aggressive this time and go for a more standard 2-1-1. But I'm still leaning towards a faster third base. As he comes in with the SCV scouts, confirms the hatch gas pool, and pulls away. This is not uncommon for players like Rogue to open up pool first, for example, and try to slip out across the map. So Clem just being careful. Factory follow-up. Clem pokes in, pulls away. So far just has in the waters. He's checking with the third base and there is no third. That is unorthodox. And Clem is checking. So very late third base here for Rogue. Interesting. Much later third. Delayed economy. Often when you sit on two bases like this, you do tech up a little bit harder as well, just to spend your resources. And you can see that a Rogue, he does actually have 2 in gas. Are we going for roaches? Are we feeling roaches or a fast lair? It's going to be one or the other. But again, that gas income is unorthodox. Would it be roaches if you got link speed? So there's going to be 3:30 lair timing. So now we see what the gas is being spent on. I'm leaning towards potentially mutas. Like, muta play is definitely an option if more gases are taken. We'll see. Not opposed to mutas on a larger map like Winter Madness. Back at home, we have a straight up 1-1-1, a much more aggressive build here by Clem. Late third TC, very committed on 2 bases, going into more Hellions and going into more Banshees. If Rogue is being greedy and he's taking more gas, if Rogue does go into 2-base Muta, then he can be punished. So we have a late third TC for Clem. Alien Reaver still looking for a way in. Lair is now done. Show us the Spire. Hydras. Oh, okay, I see you. Este Rogue. This is a build that, if you recall, we've been bringing this up for the past couple of weeks now. The Korean Zerg scene, specifically Solar and Shin, and now Rogue. Like, to be fair, Rogue, he's not the most active of players, so I don't think I had him pinned for a player that does this yet. But now we have confirmation, all 3 Korean Zerg players are embracing this fast, almost quote-unquote 2-base Hydra style. Often it does lead into range upgrades as well, just a really heavy Hydra count early on, and this typically sets up for a 3-base all-in. A 3-base Hydra all-in. As this should be skipping mailings, so just going straight Ling Hydra. A couple of drones do go down. We get some okay damage so far to Clem. Looking for more. Can he go for the dive? Not quite. Pokes in, pulls away. Rogue is checking for the third. Hydra production has begun. And Rogue keeps running up to 57. Kelly's don't quite make the way in. Oh, they do catch a queen though. No. Yeah, queen goes down. Massive pickup. We got 13 Hydras on the way. Oh. There's a couple of drones get caught out. A couple of drones are caught. So 2 more Banshees over towards the right hand side. Rogue surprise keeping up. He's keeping up with the harass, but again, he's staying intentionally on a low drone count, and here comes the all-in. Again, no Eva chambers. No Eva chambers, no upgrades. Lings they poking across the map. The all-in is coming. And I don't know how familiar Clem is with this 3 base all-in, by the way. Technically, it's a 2.5 base all-in. Here we go. Ling Hydra does step forward. Takes down the Banshee. Clem now knows. He races back home to defend. And Rogue, can he get on top of that tank? Can he get on top of the tanks? If he can, that'll be game. Tank stays turning back. More Lings are rallying across the map. Remember, Rogue is all in. The base doesn't matter. There's not enough Zerglings here. Where are the Lings? Pappy. Oh, God, he's going to lose everything. Yeah, not enough Zerglings. Every Hydra's going to go down, and Rogue, the all-in is falling on its face. GG gets called, and Clem will have the series 1-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Rogue, sure, he had a bunch of Hydras, but again, his link count was very low. On top of that, Clem, because he went for a 1-1-1, I don't think Rogue was expecting that many tanks that quickly. There were already 2 tanks at the natural. As we tried to emphasize, remember, what did Clem do? He went for a late third. His third base was very late in favor of faster factory and faster starport, more importantly production, more heavy factory and starport production. So he already had his tanks up and running, and yeah, Rogue, he just was lacking any kind of Zerglings to break through and to actually dive on top of the army itself. GG. GG, well played. He just could not engage, and with that, we are going to be getting into the ace match, going all the way to game number 3 here. We've seen aggression from both sides. We saw game 1, Clem being the aggressor and failing to break his opponent before infestors. Game 2, we saw Rogue going for a 2.5 base all-in. What about game 3? Where are we headed? Where are we dropping? And spawning in the bottom side of Mothership, we have the South Green Zerg player, we have the Red Zerg, representing Team Falcons, being forced into a tied series. It is Rogue. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the French Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. Oh, hello, as we do mix things up early on, and we're opening up 2-Rax Reaper. Okay, technically this can turn into 3-Rax Reaper, but I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've seen Clem commit that hard and commit that much, so we should be seeing 2-Rax's Reaper production and, of course, aggression early on. The goal here should be to delay the third base of Rogue, but of course, find him first. As Clem, he's rallied towards top right, so it's going to be a late scout for Rogue's position. It's gonna be late. All right, that's the gamble you take here on Mothership. As the Reapers will be amassing. Oh, never mind. Oh my god. Clem, he actually does reroute towards the bottom side. Actually, okay, he does change his mind. Remember, there's no SCV scout. Like, there's no SCV scout. There's been no tell whatsoever. He's just flipping coins. We're just flipping coins, Pappy. Oh, no, he changed it again. God damn it. Clem, por favor. So it's still a little bit indecisive where he wants to take his Reaper. Does it go top side, bottom side? Keeps changing back and forth, and looks like he will commit to a top side scout, to a northern scout. The Overlord does slip in. The Overlord scouts the Raxes already, and you can see the Overlord intentionally pulls away. The vision of the Overlord is greater than the vision of the Rax, so Rogue sees Clem, Clem doesn't see Rogue. On top of that, side blockers, true. You have the side blockers. Rogue, he sees the timing of the natural, so he knows it's not a 3-Rax. He knows it is 2-Rax Reaper, so nice scouting here by Rogue. And Clem's, he does confirm that Rogue is bottom side now. It's outside. Does rally over. Clem, it looks like, sorry, Clem. Rogue looks like he will be able to claim his third. Undisturbed. Reapers are still making their way over. Still heading over. Clem is picking away at the third base. He's trying to force a reaction from these queens, but he should not cancel. Like, he should not force a cancel. Rogue, he should be able to hold his own. Link speed is almost done. These queens are getting caught out though. Yeah, taking a lot of damage, and the queens, they may just go down. One does fall. Rogue, he's overextended. He's overextended far too much here. Link speed is done in 8 seconds. But so many links have gone down. The queen is still very low. The Reapers, they can just hold their own. They can just fight head on. They get another queen. Oh my god. This is too much damage. Yeah, Rogue overconfident. He was overconfident here. He got caught out in the open. Queens went down. Sure, he gets surrounded, but this is already worth it. This is well worth it for Clem. Trading out 2 Reapers for 2 queens. Eventually, these Reapers will fall. Rogue is counterattacking. Back at home, Clem has a full wall off. And this is a rough position for Rogue. Hoping he can deny stim. And looks like he will be able to. Yeah, no repairs. No repairs. Stim is denied. Reactor as well. So at least some counter damage is done. And that does slow Clem down. Behind this, Clem did go for a 3rd CC, so it's going to be a 3 CC 2-on-1. It's going to be a later move out to later timing. Interestingly enough, Clem does go... Oh, actually, okay. I was going to say, interestingly enough, Clem doesn't go for the add-on stop, and we see why. It's going to be a 3 CC 2-on-1 Banshee follow-up. We actually spoke about this yesterday because Bjorn went for the same build. Bjorn did go for the same build. Sorry, I say yesterday, it was during Pegasus Cup, I should say. No, not Pegasus Cup, hold on. What am I thinking of? KSL, that's it, sorry, my apologies. So it was during KSL, but the follow-up here, this is designed to catch a Zerg player being a little bit too greedy and trying to mind game them and metagame them specifically. So what I mean by that, the 2 Raxes have been seen. The Overlord knows there's a 2-on-1 coming his way. What is a 2-on-1? A 2-on-1 is 2 Raxes, 1 starport, 1 factory. It typically means that you build up into early stim, and then you can move out with 16 Marines and 2 medevacs, right? You want to be active on the map with your 2 medevacs. But we can see that there are no medevacs on the way. Technically, this is inefficient, right? This is an inefficient build as it delays your stim timing, it delays your bio move outs because you're not making medevacs, which is why Rogue doesn't have any spores, because he doesn't expect there to be Banshees, because there should be medevacs on the way, not Banshees. We can see that Clem, I mean, this should be a tell here. We have reactor to heli in production, so that tells Rogue, hold on, the reactor's not on the starport, right? The reactor is clearly here on the factory. As, I mean, it's too late. it's too late. Drones are going down. I believe 0 detection. Yep, 0 detection. No spore, no lair, no overseer. Free damage. And the Hellions, by the time Rogue realized what was going on, it was too late. It was far too late. Banshee had already arrived. This is game-ending damage here. 11 drones had gone down. 12 drones. 12, 13, 14, getting up to 15 drone kills. Oh boy. And again, the entire reason why this happened was because there was no spore, was because technically, like theoretically, against this kind of build, there should have been reactor medevacs, which we're now seeing, but that's after the Banshee play. So this was a cheeky move here by Clem. This build was popularized by Maru and Bjorn. This was like 2 years ago, I want to say. Was going like 2-on-1, but with Banshee instead. So a relatively recent like addition to Terran builds, like in the grand scheme of StarCraft, from a couple of years ago. And Rogue has been crippled. Again, like Rogue, he lost 16 drones and he lost 3 queens already. 3 queens, 16 drones. Ay, ay, ay. And Clem has momentum. Clem is now up in supply. Now he moves out with that sim timing with the 2 medevacs. It's delayed, it's late, but it's worth it because of all the damage dealt earlier. And now Rogue has that much less to defend. Bailing speed just now began. So we're going to have a slow baiting defense. Marines are being active, catching out more tumors. Oh, the mine shot. Up, up. No retargeting. Okay. Banelings, they do survive. Rogue is holding. He's holding on. At the same time, you have a Baneling Waddle by. There's a Banshee in position to defend. Oh. As one Baneling gets in. No real damage. Let me wants a queen. Up, doesn't get it. Jesus. Yeah, Medevac barely gets away at the same time. Another double drop. Getting himself the would-be 5th ace. It's going to be cancelled. Thankfully not killed. Oh my god, the mine shot. Mine shot's going up. Rogue forced to cancel. This entire time, Clem is still macroing up. Macroing up. Reaction time pulls away against the Banelings. Again, no major connections. And I'm worried about the main push. Oof. I'm worried about the main move out. Yeah, as Clem, he's now arrived with his main army. He's up in supply, has plenty of widow mines, and it's going to be so difficult here for Rogue to engage. Mine shots are going up, queens are going down. Oh my god, more mine connections. Now there are no Banelings. Yeah, no Banelings left over. Marines, they can stim. And, I was going to say they can win, but now they're going to be zoned away. At the same time, another double drop here coming in from behind, going for the Hydrogen, actually. Yeah, Ling's trickling, the Hydrogen goes down, no more Hydra production. Oh, going for the expansion? Oh, Jesus. A little bit greedy there out of Clem. I do think he could have just killed all those Hydras. Hatchery does survive. A little bit messy here from Clem. It is messy. But he still has a lead. Like, he still has momentum. He's still ahead. He's still rallying across. Despite how messy that was. Oh, we still have a Hellion left over. Let's go. Morphing into the one Hellbat. We're down to 5 Banelings. There's 1 Infestor on the way. The fungal can be huge. Can be. Mine shots getting baited. The Hydras, they hold their own. Roki's surviving. Oh, it's not another Banshee. The Banshee comes in, snipes the expansion. Takes down the 3rd base. Once again, Clem just ensuring there's no 5th, ensuring the Rogue is not low economy, low base counts. Mine shot going off, forcing it with a friendly fire. But again, there's no fungal. It was used earlier on the Banshee. And we're still waiting for the main push, for the main move out. Now Clem is still taking up. We got 3 upgrades on the way. We got the fusion core as well. Once again for Liberators. I'll go let's catch out some of the medevacs. Okay. It does catch some medevacs. Clem, he busts into the main. Nice catching the infestation pits. Sure, there's a fungal, but there's no follow-up. Oh, I spoke too soon. The double fungal. Not bad. The chain fungal's back. Bro, he's surviving. He's holding on as best he can. But it's still an uphill battle. Still very uphill. At the mine shot, and Banelings roll in. Once again, Rogue being torn apart. There's a kill, not a cancel this time. And again, Rogue, he just can't expand. He just cannot expand. He's been stuck on 4 bases in this entire game. He just cannot get a 5th. He's been trying. 3 minutes. And it has been a slow death here for Rogue, as Clem is almost maxed. He's almost maxed out. He's getting to that point. Diving on the infestors, gets one. He wants the other. And he will hunt it down. Yeah, both infestors fall. There's 2 left. Once again, Rogue just getting torn apart. Another jumper drop is coming in. There is one fungal. Ah, no, does not land. Yeah, it doesn't land this time. GG gets called, and Clem, he will claim the series 2-1, advancing on to the winners match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations to Clem, he does claim the series. And again, it all came down to the initial build. A very cheeky build, opening up 2-Max Reaper and then following up not with a 2-on-1 16 Marine double medevac drop, but instead a 2-on-1 reacted Hellion Banshee follow-up, and he was able to deal game-winning damage. He killed 15 drones, 3 queens, and an expansion, all with the early economic damage. Again, that should not have happened by any means, and that did set Rogue behind and never caught back up. That's one of the reasons why Rogue couldn't get a 4th base, is because lack of economy, lack of army, lack of defensive setup there. It all just kind of played into each other there. So just a very, very strong start from Clem at catching Rogue with his pants down. Again, when the Banshee showed up, there were no spores and there was no lair. 0 detection available for the Cloak Banshees. They ended the game. They were the game-winning blow there, so congratulations, Clem does claim the series. But a shout out to Rogue for making a series out of it. Coming into this matchup, I was favoring Clem for a 2-0, but for Rogue to gain momentum and to take a lead early on in the series, especially in a longer game, in a longer macro game, was impressive. Was definitely impressive. So GG, well played. With that, Clem, he will claim the first series, and now we're going to be jumping into our next best of 3 are the 2 players in the group here. It's going to be SHIN versus Cyan. Let's go. We have our fresh best of 3. Going to be loading into the Old Republic. And spawning in the top right hand corner of the Old Republic. God damn it. Hold on, I gotta un momento. Gotta fix up the player names. There we go. Spawning in the top right hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the Chinese Protoss player himself. It is Cyan. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player. The red Zerg player, the South Korean Zerg. It is SHIN. Here we go. Oh, hello. As SHIN does move out with the drone early on, he's going for the hatch block. And the goal here is to block the expansion, to disrupt the economy. Remember, SHIN, he is going hatch before gas and before pool. This is technically a greedy start, but the goal here is to disrupt the opener of the Protoss. The goal is to disrupt. Drone moves in. Guess what? Ooh, nice reaction. Yeah, quick reaction by Cyan. And can he block the expansion? Can he deny the block? Oh my god. He barely can. Barely can. A second probe comes down. Drone is going to be focused. Up. Tries to find a way in. And the hash block is denied. Yeah, big denial there. SHIN forced to go, oh, hatch before expansion. So it is still technically the same build, but this is going to be a later third base, and this is just a hyper greedy build going hatch, pull into. He's going gasless, papi. Insanely late gas here for SHIN. It's going to be a shaky early game here. It's just hyper greed, disrupted initial starts. Again, the goal for SHIN was not to get a third base on location like this. It was to block the expansion, and he failed to do so. Now, because of the opener, SHIN, he is vulnerable to early game aggression, because link speed is going to be heavily delayed, roach production is going to be delayed, everything is delayed because of the late gases. This is where if Cyan goes into a hyper-aggressive build on 2 bases, he can punish SHIN. Last, for the time being, Cyan, he is not aware. He was going to probe scout, if you remember, but he was denied the probe scout because of the attempted hash block. So Cyan, he's not actually aware as to what's going on. But now opening up Stargate. Does go for the Stargate opener. Drone does confirm. Again, drone scouting is non-existent in just at this level of play. But I mean, you got to make do of what you have. Yeah. Oh, okay, as it's going to be a Void Ray opener. Meanwhile, SHIN, he does actually pull in, and he does actually go for link speed, so he doesn't skip it. Link speed is being researched. Adepts take it across the map. Getting 1 drone kill so far. One threatening shades. At the same time, SHIN, he's, if you recall, not aware of what's being built. He knows there's a Stargate, that's it. So spores are in production. The goal of the road here is to hunt down overlords, and do we find one? And he does. He might even get 3. Yeah, the first overlord goes down. Remember, there's another here behind it in the center and another across the map. So 3 overlords are exposed. He gets 1 so far. I believe the adept spotted the other. Yep. Did spot the other overlord. Very nice catch. And again, there's 1 left. And do you see what I see? I see a forge on 2 bases. Sorry, I say forge. I'm going to say no Twilight Council. So forge on its own, no Twilight Council into a robo. Ooh, okay. This looks like a couple of different things. Now, this could be +1 into +2 into a bay, into Colossus production, into a heavy like 3-4 Colossus move out. I'm assuming that just because there is no Twilight Council. So late Twilight Council, late Archon or Storm production here. So I'm leaning a little bit more towards a bay and towards robo play, but we'll see. This one is in production. The other option, of course, is it could be a Soul Train, right? It could be Immortal Sentry. We'll see what's done with the robo. The Overlord comes in with the scouts. Oh, this should have been denied. Void Ray was out of position. Yeah, Void Ray is out of position. Overlord goes in, scouts the forge, scouts the lack of Twilight Council, sees everything here in the main base. And that's on Cyan. Meanwhile, there's the bay, as we had assumed. Okay, so it is going to be for fast Colossus. And this should be a +2 timing. Should be +2 with like 4 Colossus. But again, that scout shouldn't have happened. There it is, double Colossus production, as I mentioned, 2 and then 4. Meanwhile, SHIN, on one scout in the main base, he is now aware that something is weird. He saw no Twilight Council, and I like this response, Spire. Spire is on the way. Remember, there won't be Blink. There's no Blink Stalkers, so limited anti-air for Cyan. Mutas do make sense here. Oh. Stasis goes up. As the Void Ray finds more damage. Oh my god. Got a couple of Overlords, but denies an expansion as well. Very nice. Speaking of denying expansions, it's a cancellation. SHIN picks off the expansion. Cyan, where's the Spire? Further back in the main base.
Upgrade complete.
Do you have a Phoenix on the way? More Colossus are amassing. Oh, even catching an Immortal, no way. Barely nuts. Immortal does get away. We have 8 mutants in production. Alongside +1 flyer attack. From the side of Cyan, he only made a singular safety Phoenix. You can see in position here, so there's no good reaction. There's no strong reaction to mutas. Cyan is still not aware. He's still in the dark, and these mutas, they can end the game. They can end the game. Roaches are moving out. Try to dive on the sentries, gets one. Ooh, stasis goes up. Stasis does go up, and alas, Shin, he barely does not get that second sentry. Just distracting the army. Mutas, they bust in, and probes are going down. Yeah, crazy economic damage here. 4 probes falling. Phoenix almost falls as well. Oh god, no! Again, there's no cannons, no shield batteries, no side defense. 7 probes. Oh god, gets a Phoenix. It does catch one of the Phoenixes. 11, that's soon to be up to 12 pro kills. Mutas are being cleaned up. This is this is messy damage here. Shaky defense out of Cyan. Oh no! Losing another Phoenix. Another Phoenix falls. Because of +1 fire attack, you can see that Shin, he's actually doubling down. He's going into mass muta. It's not just to harass, he wants even more. That is going to actually benefit Cyan a little bit here. Cyan is already going for a second Stargate and a fleet beacon in towards Phoenix range. But there are so many mutas already. It might just be too late. And remember, there's no blink. Oh my god. These mutas, they might just fight head on, to be honest. They might just engage. Yeah, they will. A Stalker gets one shot. There's 3 Stalkers left. Down to 2, down to 1. 0 Stalkers, 0 anti-air. Nothing shoots up. We got Colossus. GG gets called, and Shin takes game number 1. GG. Ay, ay, ay. GG, well played. Shin, he does take a lead in the series. Again, unfortunately, Shin, he got a scout off. If you remember, that was not meant to happen. What was the goal of the Void Raid? To hunt down the Overlords. There were 3 Overlords on the map, and he got 2. One of them survived, the one that was right next to the natural. As a result, we saw that Shin was able to slip into the main base. He got a full scout of the main, and what did he see? It's about what he didn't see. He did not see a Twilight Council, so he knew, okay, you have no blink. You have no blink Stalkers, you're going into a more heavy Colossus style instead. Mutas have potential for damage, and the mutas went uncontested there. Again, we had a handful of vanilla Stalkers, we had a handful of Phoenixes, but the Spire didn't get scouted, so there were no cannons or shield batteries in the mineral lines, and everything just snowballed out of control. GG. GG, well played. Classic almost hard countered there, basically. Almost hard countered because he was investing everything into that +2 for Colossus timing, and it all just fell on its face. He just couldn't get into it, not against mass muta. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Celestial Enclave, we have the... Oh, so I have to fix up the players. Un momento. Spawning in the bottom hand corner of Celestial Enclave, we have the Chinese Protoss player, the blue Protoss. It is Cyan. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the red Zerg player, the South Korean Zerg. It is Shin. Doing the same thing. Shin, he's moving in for the hatch block. The drone has arrived. Now, technically, I say hatch block, he could just proxy in the bay. Oh, never mind. Wait, what? So it's going to be an all-in. So what is confusing me here is that Shin, he could have just gone straight in. Like there's a worker path here to just go straight into the pocket base, and we have seen Shin successfully proxy inside the pocket expansion. Instead, he's going for the proxy here at the triangular third location, which means he will have to break down these rocks. He'll have to break down these rocks to pull off the all-in. In my mind, it's going to be a virtual all-in, but we'll see. We have Cyan going for the probe scout. He confirms no expansion yet. He already knows something's wrong. Yeah, he checked. He did just take his own pocket. Here's where something is amiss. Boys are being pulled. It's going to be, I guess, spine crawlers to be able to focus on those rocks. And he scouts. He sees, he scouts, he knows. Oh boy. So Cyan is aware. Going for his own cannon response. That is correct. That is the correct move. This early on, if you're a Protoss player, when it comes to the early game defense like this, your production is very limited, right? You only have one gateway. There's only one gateway, so warp-ins are very, very limited. It is crucial that you throw down that forge so you have something to support your army. You need those cannons. Here come the spine crawlers. Probe does confirm. 3 spines on the way. I assumed it was going to be a roach rush, but no, it's going to be a link flood. So it's going to be a spine rush, link flood, no extra gases. Again, we'll see if SHIN can pull this up. Cannon's already on the way. And I'll be honest, with cannons up and running, I don't see how SHIN actually breaks into the bases. Like, yes, these rocks are going to be knocked down by the spine crawlers, and there's going to be a link flood. But as long as you have cannons in both bases, we're going to be fine. And he's fully walling off the ramp. I mean, sure, that'll do it. He has a full wall here on the right-hand side. And you can see he's creating a choke point. Yeah. The Sim City here, he's just creating his own wall and his own choke point. There's no way in. There's no way into the main. To get in, you have to slip in here. There's one little gap here between the cannon and the shield battery. This is like RTD. This is like tower defense, where where Cyan is creating his own Sim City here with his own cannons and shield batteries, like creating his whole like pathway, his own pathway. But yeah, how do you link flood into this? You don't. Like I especially with force fields is the thing. Like if they slip past, if they try to get off the ramp, we can just force field. And now we're droning. No shot. SHIN is expanding. He's gonna try to macro. He's gonna try to macro out of this. It was such a big investment though. The proxy hatchery, the spine crawlers. SHIN, he admits he cannot kill. No, they're the queens. The force field. He gets both. Both queens get caught out. Ay, ay, ay. SHIN is trying to macro. He's trying. And Cyan is ahead. Straight up. Like Cyan, he's ahead. The one thing that's slowing Cyan down is lack of tech. His tech is late. That is true. But the economy is very late for SHIN. So it makes up for that. Now, we could have gone for a Stargate into Void Ray. Fun fact, there's no anti-air. There's no queens and there's no spores. So a Void Ray would have killed everything here. Or even an Oracle. Instead, we can see that Cyan is going for the Robo instead, going for the Immortals to try to brute force his way through. But oh, one sentry goes down. So Cyan, he will eventually break out, but this is, again, not the cleanest kind of way to break out. And to be fair, I believe the Robo was already on the way when the queens were still alive, right? If there were still 2 queens here, I mean, the Oracle or Void Ray follow-up wouldn't really be as effective. And the queens went down after the decision was made. Almost catching another queen. Roach Warren's on the way. Here comes the Immortal. And SHIN, he's forcing himself into an all-in, which makes sense. Like, he's making roaches, making lings, he's not droning. It's going to be all or nothing. Comes in for this round. Force fields. They zone away the queen at least. They lock down the lings. Oh my god. Yeah, lings are locked down. There's no escaping this. Every ling will fall. Oh, to escape. To barely get away. Again, hefty losses. Those 18 Zerglings for 1 sentry. The efficiency, Pappy. As files, they break down the force field. More Zerglings than he picked up. So again, from here, Cyan is still ahead in economy, by the way, just because SHIN was not joining. He's not joining. Oh, almost gets us around. Ah, the War Prism, the Micro, the Juggling. It does Micro back, saves the Immortals. Hides back against the Zerglings. And SHIN, he's still very much so all in. Like, SHIN's goal is to just end the game here and now to try to kill. As time goes on, Cyan is getting further and further ahead. With extra warp-ins, with extra tech. Charge is almost done. It's on the way. Oh, he wants that queen. He wants it. Oh my god. The queen is one shot away from going down. Now SHIN starts to drone. This is late drones, late saturation. Things are still looking very, very bleak here for SHIN. Oh, let's go. Going for drop alerts. There is potential. SHIN has potential. Go dropping links into the pocket base. He's dropping off. And evacuates. Okay. Very mature decision. Evacuates at the same time. Prism got across the map though. Actually, the queen. There's the recall back home. Recall into the bases. Ooh, +2 is denied. Very nice. Denied +2. Takes on the Cybercore as well. SHIN finding damage. Droning up. Oversaturated, but still making some moves. Now, the scariest thing that we're seeing here, of course, is that this army that we're building up for Cyan, it's a death ball of an army. He's got 5 Immortals. He's got Colossus on the way. He has +1. He's ahead in upgrades. He would have been further ahead with +2. In a head-on fight, SHIN cannot engage. Like, in a head-on fights, Cyan will win. SHIN has to do everything he can to slow this down. SHIN still has no expansion. Yeah, still no hatchery. Cyan breaks out. Drop back in. It's going to be dealt with. Oh, SHIN even getting supply blocked here. Heavy supply block. Heavy block. Late 4th base. Yeah, this is just a really rough position for SHIN. Currently, if Cyan were to push, I don't think SHIN can stop him. I'll be honest. Not yet, at least. What does SHIN need to do? SHIN, he needs to try to slow this down, right? Backstabs, run buys, buy as much time as possible, and ideally tech up into lurkers. Whether it's lurkers or... No, yeah, I mean, a heavy Lingbane army can work, maybe. But Cyan is not pushing. And both armies are going to max. They're going to max out. And the problem with Shin's army here is that Lingbane Road Ravager, this is an army that's built to trade. The problem is that Shin, because his economy is so low and so poor, he can't afford to trade. So this army just doesn't really scale well into a longer macro game. It's very supply inefficient. Oh boy. And here comes Cyan. He's maxed. Now, as he pushes, Shin can backstab and threaten the base and threaten the expansion. Ah, this is an Archon. This is an offensive Archon. Cannon, shield, battery, he's fine. Yeah, Cyan is fine. We'll see how the Banelings engage. We'll see how the force fields are thrown down. Speaking of, here come the Banelings. They crash into the Zealots. Zealots, they pull away. Good control. Yeah, Zealots, they survive. They pull back. Banelings, they crash into the center of the army. They're breaking through the Immortals. There's 2 Immortals left. Sorry, there's 3. There's 3 Immortals. 1 Colossus maybe goes down, but there's not enough Zerg. There's not enough here. Oh, does deny the Prism. The Warpin is denied. Best case scenario for Shin. Oh, God. But the Robo army still stands strong. 3 Colossus. They're barely standing. Look how deep in the red they are. 1 shot away from going down. Cyan, he backs off. He preserves his army. He has to get out of here. He has to race back home. Again, you saw how close that defense was. If that War Prism finished the Warpin, I feel like Cyan would have broken through. But yeah, GG. GG gets called. He cannot catch the army. And Cyan ties up the series 1-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. A very messy game here, but as we mentioned, like Shin, he was all in. He was not droning. He was not saturating. He was not taking up. And once the all in failed, things were looking very, very dire there for Shin. He took the best fight he could have hoped for, right? He had some decent Baneling connections. He shut down the War Prism, but still he could not deal with the core bulk of the army there, the Colossus and the Immortals. They persevered, they survived, and that would lead into a stronger follow-up push. GG. GG, well played. Meanwhile, a big shout out to Sneaky Snake 3290 in the chat. Thank you so much, God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing for the first time. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you appreciate the content, the casting, and the StarCraft. Thank you so much. As we're getting into the ace match, going to be loading into Tourmaline for that 3rd and final game. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner here of Tourmaline, we have the blue Protoss player, the Chinese Protoss. It is Cyan, the barcode. And spawning in the right-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player, the South Korean Zerg. It is Shin. For the first time this series, not going for the hatch block, or not going for a proxy hatchery, I should say. Game 1, he attempted a hatch block. Game 2 was a proxy hatch into a 2-base all-in. Game 3, we have instead a 15 hatchery timing. Okay. So something more standard, something more normal. Does open up. We're going Nexus first. Oh, this is bold. This is crazy. Nexus first on Tourmaline? I mean, I guess technically, no shot. Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy, papi. Especially, like, if Shin was moving out with a hatch block, this would have been brutal, because a hatchery could have been thrown down here as a part of the wall. I guess technically Cyan could have responded with a forge, but this would have been a very messy defense because the gateway was late, the zealot would have been late as well, like the reaction would have been delayed. This is so risky on Tourmaline. It works, but that was a big gamble, considering how Shin's been playing so far, considering the series. So bold move out of Cyan. Shin opens up standard, Cyan opens up greedy. And Cyan will get away with the greed. As is going for a 2-gate follow-up. And that does mean he'll be able to respond and react with a double adept. 2 adepts and then another 2 as well. Overlord pokes in, and Shin, he will confirm the timing of the Nexus. It's already done. It's already done. Cybercore is delayed, second gateway is on the way, so Shin now realizes that this was a greedy build, and he also realizes that he has to be ready for the follow-up here, as that is a fast second gateway. Now Lings they poke in. This is a big investment early on as well. Shin making 6 Lings. Stargate opener out of Cyan. Does go Stargate. The Overlord will barely might be able to scout.
Here comes a new challenger.
God damn it, Shin, every time. God damn it. Shin is a diva enjoyer. Every time I look at his vision. Este Shin. And we are opening a Void Ray. Okay, now this doesn't have to mean that we're hiding tech, but it gives the option, right? Now we have the option for Cyan to hide a second Stargate or a Fleet Beacon or an earlier Twilight Council. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for Shin to confirm. I mean, he already lost the Overlord, true, but... And did he scout the Void Ray? Did not. Lings are moving out to delay the third base. There is not going to be an Oracle to defend. But there are 2 Adepts. Adepts are in position. Lings, they attempt to collapse in. Void Ray has arrived, and Cyan will defend. Shin does at least get the battery. That battery is going to go down. That was a kill, not a cancel. Once again, do you see what I see? Early Forge. No Twilight Council. It looks like Forge into Robo? Question mark? Yep, there it is. Forge into Robo. You should recognize this as the same build as last game. It isn't the exact same build. The timings are a little bit off. This Robo is delayed, but outside of that, it's looking like Fast +1 into +2 into Bay into Colossus production again. I mean, Immortal Colossus. Does look like this is the go-to style here for our Protoss player, for Cyan. And in my mind, this leads into a second Robo into double Colossus production. If you remember, Cyan, he attempted this style in Game 1 and got punished by Mutas. Then he did this in Game 2, was successful, and now we're seeing it here again in Game 3. So it does seem like this is Cyan's preferred style. It's a very old school style. It's very robust. It builds up into a really strong ground army, of course. There's a lot of downsides to this though. The downside, as you're seeing here, is you have less Oracles. So less Oracles, less scouting, less harassment is available to you. Let's go. Same reaction. Here come the Mutas. Just like we saw in Game 1. Now we already have a Blind Phoenix. Blind Phoenix here out of Cyan. He knows, of course, hey, he lost Game 1 due to Mutas, so that might be in the back of his mind. Once again, for those that weren't here for Game 1, one of the reasons why Mutas are a good response is because of how late the Twilight Council is. So late Council, late Blink, late Anti-Air. But we do have a blind second Phoenix. So again, Cyan, he is terrified. He's not aware that it's Mutas, otherwise we would see a second Stargate and we'd see side defense in the mineral lines. He's just blindly getting ready for that. It's kind of the same thing as mech. Whenever you see like a turtling kind of mech style, sometimes you see Terran players blindly make Thors, just in case Mutas would suddenly appear. It's a similar kind of rationale. Eris just got denied. Mutas are coming. This time though, do you notice something? So in game 1, we saw Muta production into +1 flyer attack. There's no flyer attack this time. There's no upgrade. So there's less of a chance, or I should say there's more of a chance that SHIN is going to go into a ground switch into roaches instead. We're not seeing the same signs of mass Muta. Mutas are moving out. They will hit the natural. Once again, the natural's open. No side defense. Probes will go down. Oh, and it's already getting a lot of damage. Already, what, 6 probes going down. Now we have 9 mutas on the way, but again, there's no upgrades to follow up here. But he's going into the mutas. This time more phoenixes though. This time we got 5 phoenixes here. The mutas all go down, and SHIN just made an extra wave of mutas. Oh god, now we force a cancel. Oh god. He just canceled all the mutas he was making, now going into Corruptor. Big cancellation, big waste of resources. And now you can see SHIN trying to make the ground switch. +1 range is on the way. Bailiness as well. SHIN is in trouble. And how many Colossus do we have? 2. So if you remember, I assumed it was going to be a 4 Colossus timing and 4 Colossus move outs. Oh, Cyan is supply blocked. Big supply block. Instead pushing with 2, but he's still hit with +2 as well. Like the +2 upgrade is going to be done. Main army does push. And we'll see if SHIN can hold. We'll see how hard he commits. And he's poking forward. He does have force fields. Nice force fields. He is turning back the army. Bailings do not connect. One of the immortals does get very low. It does get low. Not many range remaining. Archons, they push through. And so far, a better trade for Cyan. You can see he's closing that supply gap. Getting a second Robo. More Colossus. So Protoss army's rotating. Cyan striking and hitting that left-hand base. Going for the 5th. At the same time, Lings, they head for the 4th. Coming on the right-hand side, the base is open. Cells, they do slip in. Bailings, they should clean this up. 5 drones go down. Inside is going for the expansion. He's going for the base. He should bring it down. Corruptors, they go for the dive. Okay. They get the Colossus. They get 1. The Prism. The Colossus as well. There's 1 Colossus left. But looks like SHIN, he will clean this up. Yeah, we'll completely clean this up. He takes down the army. Does clean up. But what about the Archons? Oh my god. 2 more supplying Corruptors. Yeah, 2 more supplying Corruptors here. The Archons do overwhelm. I say that with reinforcements, SHIN, he should be able to hold on. The Archons are low. Down to 3, down to 2. 2 Archons left. Down to 1. Down to 0. Ay. SHIN holds. Whew, it was a messy defense here, but SHIN, he is holding on. Saves the expansion. Does hold. Behind the Cyan, making 2 Colossus at a time. How many Corruptors are left over? 3. Only 3 Corruptors, so there's this time not much anti-air. Sky Toss on the way. We're gonna be here for a while. We're thinking about Sky Toss. So again, once again, both players are maxing out. SHIN is still stuck on Ling Main Roach Ravager. This army can still work if you can flank the army and get us around, but when it comes to these head-on engagements, it's not the best kind of army. It's not very efficient. But he is pushing in. Yeah, it does die for the main army. Bailings that crash into mainly Archons. The Colossus they kite back. The prison does save one. Yeah, just saves one. The other does go down to one Colossus. But the Archon Immortal does stand strong, and SHIN, he gets shut down completely. As we mentioned, like, this army is not meant to fight head on. It's not designed to. Yeah, SHIN, he falls in supply. Remember, his supply is inflated already because of the roaches. He's holding on back. Holding on. SHIN is forced back. He's still rebuilding that same Lingbane Roach Ravager composition. At least the immortal count is a little bit low. Yeah, there's only 3 immortals. That will help. Bailings, they crash in. Nice control with the Archons. Nice control with the War Prism, I should say. Yeah, shuts down all the Lingbane. Now there's only roaches remaining. Ooh, Archons get picked off with the mass click. No detection! Oh my god, the mothership comes in clutch. 0 detection. The army crumbles, and Cyan will claim the series 2-1. GG. Oh my god. A brutal timing with the mothership. Brutal timing, brutal cloak as well. I mean, even without it, things looking bleak here, of course, for SHIN, as he was just running out of steam. But GG. GG. GG, well played. Cyan, he will claim the series. SHIN, alas, he will fall here in the initial round. I will say that SHIN, he had a really strong game 1, of course, going into mutas. I'm not fond of the idea of going mutas again here in game 3. You saw that Cyan was blindly getting ready for them. I mean, I say blindly getting ready, he still didn't have any site defense. He still did lose a bunch of probes, but he was able to shut down those mutas, even force a cancel, and have just a really rocky follow-up out of SHIN as he had to cancel the mutas. He was making corruptors. He was stuck on Lingbane Roach Ravager. Momentum was on Cyan's side ever since he shut down those mutas. It was a big investment. It was a big investment, a big follow-up investment as well. It just was not worth it. GG. GG, well played. With that, we do have our brackets updating here. Un momento. Here we go, as we can switch our scenes over and catch up on the bracket itself. Remember, this is a GSL group, GSL format. We had Clem took down Rogue 2-1 to advance on to the next round, to the winners match. Cyan takes down SHIN 2-1, and we have our next series. It's going to be Clem versus Cyan in a best of 3 to determine who will be the first to make it through into the playoffs from Group B. Meanwhile, the next matchup then following that will have the ZVZ between Rogue and SHIN to determine the first player to be eliminated from Group B. Oh boy. For now, we're going to be cutting to a break. We're going to be cutting to a break here. When we come back, we'll have Clem versus Cyan, followed by Rogue versus SHIN. We'll have you there. We'll have you. Otherwise, take this time to get some snacks, get some food, get some water, drain your disruptors, massage your marines, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes here with Clem versus Cyan. See you soon. See you soon. welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OST as we've returned. We returned here with our next matchup. We returned with the winners match. The winners match here of the LiuLi Cup 2025 Grand Finals Group B. We just wrapped up with our first two matches, and now we have our two winners facing off in that best of three. Clem versus Cyanable players. Again, Cyan, he was able to pop off against SHIN. SHIN was hyper aggressive, and we saw that Cyan, he definitely had a playstyle he preferred in the PvZ matchup, going into this more robo heavy and more Colossus heavy style. SHIN was able to excel in the first game with mutas, but he did rely on that a little bit too much throughout the course of the series. He was a hard shut down in game number 3. Things had snowballed out of control, but now we have our fresh best of 3 here, and we'll see how Cyan fares against a Terran instead of a Zerg. Let's go. Let us go. Now, if you recall, Cyan did take down Maru 2-0 last year. That was at the beginning of last year, beginning of 2025. So Cyan, he's had some big accolades and some big wins in PvT before. Can he do it again? As spawning in the bottom hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the Chinese Protoss. It is Cyan. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Terran player, the red Terran player himself. We have the French Terran for Team Liquid. It is Clem. Here we go. Here we go. We have our next matchup. We have our TVP. Settling into this here, we are going to be opening up. Looks like more standard setups here, but quickly touching on Cyan, we kind of saw his style against Zerg previously, and what was important is that he has a preferred style that he tried to play every single game. I would say the same thing about TVP as well. We'll see if he has any kind of variance, any kind of variety here. I know that Clem does. Clem, he's very mid-game oriented, very early to mid-game oriented. If he can end the game early, he will. If he's forced into a longer game state, then he will slow things down and embrace that longer and later game, but we do expect an earlier timing and earlier aggression out of Clem, typically in Terran versus Protoss. He's, like many Terran players, he's not one that enjoys the late game. Isn't one that enjoys it. For now, Cyan does scout for a proxy, checks the third location, making sure he's safe and sound. Meanwhile, single gas opener out of Clem, going for a Rax expand. So economic opener. We go. Yeah, so from here we are going to be expanding. Clem, he's going for a greedier follow-up as well, so it's going to be Marine first. He's going to be skipping his Reaper, so no Reaper scout across the map. Likewise, he's not going Marauder first either. No with the Tech Lab. Marauder follow-up, I meant to say. Cyan pokes in, and Cyan scouts the earlier CC. He also confirms the reactor and not the Tech Lab. So nice scouting here from Cyan. He's aware that Clem is being greedy. And we'll see if Cyan can punish that greed. Went for Stalker, not Adept. Okay, didn't go for the Adept opener. Oh, this I was not expecting though. Stargate out of Cyan. Okay. We're going to be opening up Stargate. This is a bit of a rarer site. This should be for Oracles, for Oracle harass across the map. Stargate openers are typically reserved for larger maps like Winter Madness or like White Rabbit as well. True. So typically reserved for these larger maps instead, just because you can be punished quite hard. 2 base all-ins do hit very hard against Stargate openers just because you have that much less to defend. No Blink Stalkers, no Chargers, for example. You have Oracles and Phoenixes. But there's a lot of harassing potential here for Cyan. Especially if he goes unscattered. Stalker picks in. Just poking forward. Yes, from here we're building up. Now I assumed it was going to be an Oracle base opener. My apologies, we're going to be opening up Phoenixes. Okay, so this is a more of a macro build here by Cyan. Opening up Phoenixes. Sorry, I was just getting some water. I was just hydrating, but we are going to be going into Stargate, going to Phoenixes instead. With this, the goal should be to hunt down the initial drop play, and we are opening up with a Widowmine drop. This shouldn't get damage done. Cyan should shut down the Widowmine and the medevac as well. Yeah, Cyan's on the hunt. Does lift. Medevac should not get away, and nice cleanup here. Now, thankfully for Clem, it was only one Widowmine, right? If this was a double or triple Widowmine drop, then Clem, he would be behind. But he did switch out of Widowmine production early on, and he is pushing already, and we spoke about this. Whenever you open Stargate, you are vulnerable to 2-base all-ins, and Clem, he's pushing on 2 bases. Reinforcing with Vikings, with tanks, reinforcing with everything. Remember, there's no blink, there's no charge, there's no nothing to defend. Cyan is vulnerable, Cyan is expanding, getting a 3rd base as well. He spots the army, but can he actually survive this? Oh, we got slow lots. Yeah, we're gonna have slow. I think that's just game. I'll be no. Clem pushes forward, getting within range of the 3rd. He should force a cancel. As now we have a 2nd tank getting within range. Charge is now beginning. The Phoenixes are coming from behind. They're gonna be focused down. Yeah, one after the other. And Clemmy trades well here. It looks like Clem, he will lose everything though. Does hunt down 3 Phoenixes. Oh, rough kiting there against the Zealots. Okay. Cyan, he saves the base. I thought that was a dead expansion for sure. But nice save out of Cyan. It was messy, but he does hold. Okay, we have a game. We have a back and forth. Oh, good. Oof. Cyan does hunt down the tank. He's holding on, Baffy. He's holding on. Catching out more Marines. And from here, Cyan can look to stabilize. Building up his probe counts, likewise 3rd CC's on the way for Clem. The game will continue. As it all settles here, I will say that Clem is in a slightly better position. When it comes to the economies, Clem is looking stronger. Cyan, when it comes to his army, he did lose all of his Phoenixes. He's down to 2. So he doesn't really have too much to harass or to really maintain map control. At this stage of the game, you do want to get out of Phoenix production, so they're not being replaced. Does scout. Does break in. And scouts and pulls away. Now from here, Cyan has to work towards splash damage, whether it's Colossus or Storm. We got to work towards something. I believe Colossus should be on the horizon. Clem is already claiming his 3rd base. And we're building up into the mid game. We're getting there. Players are building up. We have the Bay on the way, so it is going to be Colossus. And Clem should be taking a defensive stance. Being active here against mass charge ults is risky for Clem. Yeah, calm down. Calm down, baby. Calm down. Backs off, pulls away. Claiming his 3rd, and I did mention at the beginning of the game that we did expect to see Clem be aggressive, but if need be, he can turtle up and build up into a longer later game. That's kind of what we're seeing here. I mean, I say that Clem is still being very active though. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to press his advantage. He's up in army supply. Cyan going for a massive Zealot run by. Zealots are moving in. They get spotted. Clemmy's racing back home to defend. Oof. He's racing back. We get a couple of decent mine shots. Religious connections. Nice control here by Clem. He aggroes the Zealots. Buys time. Defends back home, but he's also forced to turn around. So he does confirm the 4th base. Colossus are amassing. And again, the game should be slowing down. There's a sensor tower until eventually missile turrets. Vikings are being produced. We already have Liberators on the way and Ghost production as well. 4th CC. Again, if Clem wanted to be aggressive, he's already missed that timing. So now it's all about maxing out. Just backing off, maxing out, embracing that later game. You could argue that Clem could start to be active with like drop play or try to poke in at some of these bases, but the reality is that if he does so and if he gets caught out, then he will lose any kind of lead and he'll be stuck at home and he will stay at home. It's a really kind of delicate balance as you get into the late game in TVP. It's why at this point a lot of Terran players do kind of accept this fate early, like we're seeing from Clem, where you just can't be active. You just have to stay at home. Otherwise there's a high chance to take a bad fight. So Clem staying at home. Cyan, interesting. This is a very fast switch into Sky Toss, Stargate, and a Fleet Beacon, and +1 air attack. Okay. So much faster transition. This might be too fast. I'm a little bit concerned here. So typically, the only reason why you want to switch into Sky Toss is if you believe that you cannot break your opponent. And usually it's on the Protoss player to max out, to gain map control, and to fight for the 4th base of the Terran, the 4th and the 5th. But here, Cyan's being very defensive himself. Like, he's not being active, he's not really applying any pressure, he's not trading with his opponents. He's getting ready for his Sky Toss transition here, but ideally, as a Protoss player, you want to be more active than this. Otherwise, Clem is just getting away with all this tech. And with the 4th expansion. Okay, ideally, the Terran player shouldn't be expanding this freely. Cyan's now moving in. Takes down the sensor tower. Catching a couple Marauders. At the same time going for a run by, but Clem is in position. Shuts down the Zealots, and again, this just feels very late. It just feels very, very late here for Cyan. Oh, nice catch, okay. Surround some of the fire. 3 more Three more Stargates on the way. That's going to be 5 Stargates in total. And we have carriers amassing. Okay. The scan. He sees everything. Yeah, Clem confirms the Fleet Beacon, the carrier production, and the extra Stargates. And that should prompt Clem to switch into more starports and into a heavier Viking count. You can see here making 3 Vikings at a time. And there is a 3rd starport being made. Meanwhile, Cyan on side on the 4th. Attempts to surround. Nice repair here from the SCVs. Yeah, he repairs well. Defends the expansion. Cyan has to get the hell out of here. Shell side over. Cashing out a handful of units. No major connections though. At the same time, Delta do hit the natural. Not bad. Clem out of position. SCVs are falling. Yeah, 9 SCV kills. But this is still a better fight overall here for Clem as he gets almost another Colossus. Almost another. As Clem is going to be committing in. Does outposition Cyan. Gets center expansion. Nexus goes down. Again, the Terran player should not be having map control at this stage of the game. Like this, it's just a really weird dynamic. But one of the reasons why is because of the Sky Toss. Like, it means that the ground army is that much weaker. Mass EMP swapping up. Carrier being chased down. Got more Vikings on the way. Oof. Yeah, Cyan is stuck on the low ground. No, no, rallying in. Not like this. And if Clem can push into the main, he can just win the game. He can just win the game then and there. He's so close to doing so. Zealous try to collapse in. One flank is too soon. Ah, that's a lot of Vikings going down though. Okay. Takes down most of the Vikings. But Clem can just stim in. Yeah, he can stim in. Mass EMP. Oof. Blanketing everything. It all gets EMP'd. Carriers are going down. Down to one carrier. One left, Pappy. One left. Ah. As Clem is still out trading. Nice control, nice splits. Up. We'll lose one Marauders to the Nova. Just the one. And Cyan is struggling to hold on. As I mentioned, it was just the switch into Skytools was just really awkward. It was just too fast, and likewise the aggression from Cyan was too late. I mean, gain map control, snowball out of control from there. Splits against Novas. Does Frankenstein's Disruptor. Carrier goes down. The Colossus as well. There's just nothing left. There's nothing here. GG gets called, and Clem takes game number 1. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Again, Cyan, he had a decent start to the game where he was able to hold on and claim his third base, but again, the economy was always lacking there for Cyan, and he never really gained map control. Like, he had an army to work with, but he was very, very passive with that army, just allowing Clem to get a 4th base, to get a 5th base, to build up, to max out. We saw just a very passive Cyan here. There was some run buys and some counterattacks, that is true, but they were few and far between. Few and far between. GG. GG, well played with that Clem. He's snowballed out of control, and now we're going to be loading into game number 2. We'll see if Cyan can recover and bounce back as they load into another larger map, as they load into the Old Republic. And spawning in the right-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the French. Sorry, we have the... Oh, God. Un momento. In the right-hand corner, we have the Chinese Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing himself, currently seamless. It is Cyan. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Terran player. We have the French Terran for Team Liquid. It is Clem. Let's go. Oh, did I have the wrong... I think I might have had the wrong name in the last game, so I do apologize. I might have left the UI on. Yeah. Oh, no, it was correct. Okay, thank God. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2 here. We're going to be settling on in. Now, winding it back, what happened in the last game? Cyan, he did open up Stargate. He went for a Stargate opener into Phoenixes. He shut down the first drop, but alas, he was punished. If you recall, afterwards, Clem, he went for an early move out. He went for an early push. As we tried to emphasize, Stargate openers do leave you vulnerable to early game aggression, and Clem was able to reset the Phoenix count, was able to trade well against the army. He barely didn't kill the third, but he still traded well enough. He still did trade well enough, and Cyan, he lost a lot of his momentum. He lost a lot of his map control, and he never quite gained it back. So we'll see what kind of opener we go for this time. Do we go Stargate once again, or do we switch things up and go for a Twilight Council, or even a Robo? True. Cyan has options. Meanwhile, once again, economic opener out of Clem. If you remember last game, he went Rax expand in towards a faster reactor, into reactor marine production. This time early tech lab. Okay, with this earlier tech lab, it should be an add-on swap into Cyclone play. This is a much safer build here for Clem. It was very greedy last game going for the reactor. This time, safer tech lab. Safer build. It's just me as a Protoss Death Ball, the same versus every race. That is not true, but specifically for Cyan, he has been going for some more similar compositions. I say similar because both against SHIN and against Clem, he did go very Colossus heavy, but against SHIN, he went Colossus Archon. Against he went Colossus Archon Immortal. Against Clem, he went Colossus into Disruptor into Skytos. The kind of the same kind of unit there, or the through line was Colossus, but the supportive armor was very different. Very different. Against Terran, ideally the Protoss player wants to stay on a lower gas count and they want to go into a heavier gateway composition and more zealots. Against Zerg, they want to go into a heavier tech army instead, as they're often more defensive against Zerg. So the overall armies are different because typically the goal is very different. Against Zerg, Protoss wants to like build up and turtle up and ideally get into Skytos. Against Terran, they want to be aggressive and they want to stop the Terran from expanding and be in their face, which is why they stay on a lower gas count. Typically, if you recall, I was being a little bit critical last game of Cyan's passivity and his more defensive play, where he was unable to really deny the bases of Clem. But do you see what I see? I see not just the Twilight Council to blink into how many gates. We have 2 gateways in the main base. We have 1 gateway at the natural. We have 3 gate blink. So 3 gate blink, ooh, into an expansion before Robo. This is a very safe build. Very safe build here from Cyan, but does mix it up. I will say that. Does mix it up. Hello, Clem. Clem moves out with the SCV. Back at home, he does go for a very early tank production. Oh, so it was the early Cyclone into early tanks. This is leading into an early push. So very early move out here from Clem. Now, it's going to be on Cyan to see this coming ahead of time as the bunker's on the way. And Cyan, he's not being active on the map. Against Cyan, he has all these Stalkers in position to deny drops, right? You can see 3 Stalkers here in the main base, and likewise 2 Stalkers here at the natural. He's ready for a Widowmine drop or Banshee harass. We can see it's one big push. It's one big push, and the hallucination now confirms. And Cyan's out of position. He's out of position. He's now reacting. He's now racing on over. Shield batteries are on the way. Bunker should be denied. But ideally, Cyan, he wanted to slow this down. You want to be active on the map. You want to pick away at the Marines, pick away at the tanks, and slow down the push. But Cyan, he was stuck at home, ready for a drop that never came. So just a mystery there from Cyan. Clem moving in. Massive tank shots. Getting within range of the batteries. And this first battery should be denied. Oh, God. Yeah, Cyan's getting desperate. Does pull the boys. Battery's helping. Okay. Yeah, battery does help. Marines are going down, and Cyan, he will clean this up. Blinks in. He blinks in. He gets one. He gets both tanks. Both tanks go down, and Cyan, he defends. Whew. Yeah, a very messy defense here from Cyan, but he does barely hold on. It's actually very similar to last game. Ooh, he has to be careful. He has to respect that tank. And where exactly are we? So from here, Cyan, he has a decent economy. He has to be careful here about pushing in. Does not want to lose those Stalkers. Back at home, Clem, he's transitioning. We have a CC on the way. We have the eBay. We have another Rax as well, working towards Stim, working towards the follow-up. So we have it back and forth. The army is still in favor of Clem. That's why Cyan has to be careful. As we do kind of bounce off each other. But again, at least Cyan holds on to the third. He held on to the third base. Held on to the expansion. We got landed Viking Harass at the natural. Does a nice mining. And from here, we're getting into the mid game. Now, once again, the biggest downside of Cyan's current position here is that because of the early push and the early damage, Cyan doesn't really have a healthy Stalker count, and he's stuck at home. He's stuck at home. One of the big things that we were trying to mention coming into this game and coming into the series is how important it is to gain map control. To gain map control and to contain your opponent. Once again, this is something that Cyan does not have. He's stuck at home. He's stuck at home, which means Clem is free to just build up and do as he pleases. Against Terran, Immortals are not very good. That is not true. Immortals do have their place against Bio, specifically against more Marauder-heavy compositions. If you recall, especially Max Packs and Trigger, they were playing a lot with Colossus into Immortal instead of into Disruptor, especially after the Disruptor nerf. When the Disruptor radius was reduced and when the damage was reduced, that is when players were exploring the idea of having a more Immortal-heavy kind of supportive army instead of Disruptor. So that's something that you see every now and then. So Immortals, they have their place in this matchup, specifically against a more Marauder heavy like Bio mid game. There we go. Clem does move out. Once again, Cyan, he's not able to engage ahead of time. He has to buy time here for a splash damage. Colossus is on the way. Colossus is on the way. The base taking a lot of hits, a lot of damage. Can he dive on top of the tanks? Yeah, massive shots going off, focusing on the Colossus. Yeah, Colossus one more volley away from going down. Massive connections. Colossus falls. And Clem has done it. Clem, he has broken Cyan and breaks through the Colossus. There's one Immortal left. GG gets called, and Clem will claim the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. A clash of styles here between Clem and Cyan. We did mention this at the start of the series, but Clem was very active, was very aggressive, both in game 1 and in game 2 with these earlier move outs, with these earlier pushes. Meanwhile, Cyan, he was unable to really scout these move outs ahead of time and unable to engage ahead of time. It is so crucial, especially when you open Blink Stalkers like this, to be able to scout and to be able to move in and to pick away at the army, right? To push forward, to blink back, and to pick away at the Marines, to force a siege, maybe catch a tank, maybe catch a medevac, to slow down these pushes before they get across the map. But both times we saw that Clem, both pushes even this game, he was able to get across the map unseen, undeterred, and we saw that Cyan wasn't able to engage until the army was already sieged up in front of his bases. So unfortunately, just lack of vision, lack of map awareness, and lack of map control here from Cyan, which is honestly quite crucial in PvT. GG. GG, well played. With that, Clem does overwhelm, does claim the series, and Clem, he'll be the first player to advance on and to make it out in first place in Group B. GG. GG, well played. Clem, he does advance on in first place, and Cyan is going to be knocked down to the decider match. Oh boy. Now again, Cyan, he's going to be waiting for the winner of our next series. We next have our elimination match. It's going to be a ZVZ between both SHIN and Rogue. Again, both SHIN and Rogue, they did lose respectively to Clem and Cyan, and now they have to battle amongst themselves to determine who's going to be the first player to be eliminated from Group B. Oh boy. We have our ZVZ going to be loading into Winter Madness. Let's go. We go, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing himself. Currently seamless, it is SHIN. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player, the South Korean Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Let's go. Let us go, as we are going to be opening up. Going to be settling in. Now, I do expect this to be a very short series. Players like Rogue, SHIN, Solar as well are hyper aggressive, and often we do see a lot of all-ins, a lot of aggressive mid-game plays as well. I'd be very shocked and surprised if we build up to 3 bases in a more macro fashion. If there's no Link Flood, if we join up to 3 bases and go into Roach Wars from there. It's very rare to see that amongst the Korean Zerg players, but there is a chance. But again, unlikely. For now, Hatchcast Pool, standard openers out of our 2 players. What we're really going to be looking for here is the timing of the 3rd base, the timing of the Bailey Nest, the timing of the Evo Chamber, and the timing of the Roach Warren. All the tech structures here, depending on when they get thrown down, can be more or less aggressive. We can cut some corners, we can be more greedy, we can be more aggressive. There's different kind of avenues here available. But now we're opening up. We are going to be opening up. The first sign is whether or not anyone decides to try to skip their Bailey Nest, and whether anyone gets an early Evo Chamber. But from here, based on the openers, we should be expanding and claiming our 3rd base. So far. Meanwhile, Rogue, he's being a little bit cheeky here. He does hide his 2nd Overlord. Oh, so does SHIN. This does make it more difficult to scout for early pool timings. if you don't reveal your second Overlord. So they're both staying at home. And they'll both soon be revealed. So we're going to attempt to mind game each other. Shin will confirm the positioning of the second Overlord. Rogue won't quite catch the second Overlord of Shin. From here we drone, from here we saturate. We drone, we saturate. Link speed is on the way. From here we're pulling one out of gas. We should be doing the same thing across the map. Yep, so standard follow-up here. If we were staying in gas, then that would be indicative of a Link Bane flood, like a Link Bane like early aggression. Because we're pulling out here, there's just a standard response into a standard Baneliness timing. Yes, third bases are being taken. They're the safety Baneliness. No one skips. No one does skip. Now, next big sign we're looking for here is any kind of big Link flood. For now, we're droning, we're saturating. We'll see if anyone does make a big surge. So far, we have 6 Links on the way for Shin, which is standard. If we get up to 16, different story. So now we're just poking. You can see Shin is droning, so is Rogue. Again, very passive early game. Very passive here, very defensive. Safety Baneliness out of Rogue. Sorry, safety Baneling out of Rogue, I meant to say. Should be seeing the same out of Shin. Shin going for the earlier Roach Warren. And so far, I did mention earlier that it's going to be a little bit rarer to see our players just drone up and go into the mid game and go into Roach Wars, but that's what we're getting. So far, at least, that's all we're seeing. Oh, Jesus. As Rogue keeps flirting with the army. Kills off a Ling. Getting some hits off on the third base. And does he get the Baneling? He does not. Baneling does get away. Does survive. And Rogue backs off. And again, there's just no big commitment here. Both players have been droning, saturating, getting into their Roach Warrens. And then from here, we can get into the mid game. So again, just a very passive game so far here. This is as standard can get. And it's again, as I mentioned before, it's a little bit rare to see this amongst the Korean Zerg players, but that's what we're getting. There is one thing that I'm noticing though. Yeah, no lair. Okay. So I almost spoke too soon here. Rogue is teching. You can see here, Rogue is taking gases. Rogue is getting a lair. Rogue is working towards the mid game with Roach speed and with upgrades as well. Rogue is macroing. Shin is not. No lair. There's no lair in sight. You can see that Shin throws out an Eva chamber. This is just for show. Yeah, there's a cancel. It was just for show, just to make it look like it was a standard game. It's not standard. Shin, he will commit with an early Roach push. So here come the early Roaches. He does move out. He drones up behind this, so this is actually a fake out. Okay. So late lair, late gases, late droning out of Shin, but these Roaches move out, they get revealed to this Overlord, and Shin is not reinforcing, by the way. This is a fake move out. It's a fake push designed to make Rogue make an army. So Shin, he should not commit. He pokes in. He does catch some Zerglings. And Shin, actually, he's going for the mineral line. Yeah, he's going to go for the mineral line. Rogue, he does pull away. Nice reactions out of Rogue, and Rogue defends. Rogue, he does defend. He bleeds out 3 drones. Behind this, Shin, he was able to out-drone his opponent, getting up to 55. And as we mentioned, this was a fake out. Like, he had no intention of committing into a proper fight. So Shin, he does back off. Behind this, Rogue is with the faster lair. Faster Spire. Mutas are on the way. Both players, okay, similar minds here, but we're getting there in different ways. Again, Rogue, faster lair, faster gas, faster Spire, and with that, faster Mutas. Shin is one step behind in the Muta Wars. Now, because he's behind though, he can react with +1 carapace if he can scout, right? If he can confirm what's going on. Meanwhile, Overseer gets into the main base. Rogue, he will confirm the late Spire. He knows. Yeah, Rogue, he sees, he scouts. Rogue can now react with +1 flyer attack instead and go into mass Muta.
Your forces are under attack.
SHIN, he attempts to scout, does not get in there. Yeah, doesn't get into the bases. SHIN is zoned away. Muta production has begun for Rogue, and Rogue has a choice to make. Does he go into +1 or not? Only 8 mutas. Okay. So, Rogue, he's only making a harassing amount of mutas. Oh, no. +1 fire carapace. Interesting. So carapace is usually researched if you believe that you're down in the muta count. If you're up in mutas, you can get away with +1 attack instead. So, interesting choice. Going for carapace. Mutas are revealed. SHIN's roaches are getting caught. Free damage for Rogue. Yeah, just free damage here. Catching out more roaches. SHIN, he needs to trade. And can he get the expansion? Oh, the base. The base is getting low. 2 more volleys. Oh, no mas. He gets it. Very clutch there. The 4th base is cancelled, but it did cost SHIN a lot of roaches. Yeah, a lot of roaches just went down. SHIN is going to +1 flyer carapace as well, which makes sense for SHIN because he's behind. So we're going to have equal upgrades. SHIN is forced back. SHIN's 4th base does have better production here, as in it's now finishing. But I'll have Rogue slipping into the bases. No. Yeah, slips into the mineral line. These roaches are just buying time. They're buying time for the actual army here to kill. They're going for the hatchery. Mutas, they do hit the natural. SHIN is being pulled apart. Rogue gets in. The drones are going down. No spore. 13 drones. 13 drone kills. Ay. This hatchery will be saved, but this is becoming critical damage. As Rogue is switching out of roaches into +1 melee into Ling Muta. And so should SHIN. Looking at the muta counts here, we have 21 mutas against 17. So again, we have more mutas for Rogue. On top of that, we have a slightly faster upgrade to Rogue as well. Slightly faster. And Rogue is up 20 drones. That's maybe the more important thing, really. Rogue, he has almost full saturation here. SHIN is struggling. Now, in a mirror matchup, how do you recover from this kind of game state? Run-bys. Ling run-bys, Ling counterattacks, Bailing run-bys, like, that's what you have to rely upon. It's difficult to pull that off on ZVZ, though, because of the map control that you have with Overlords. So this is a really rough position for SHIN. Very, very rough. He's playing from behind, essentially. With mutas, because of how fast they are, you can maybe try to outposition. Speaking of, does catch Novus here. At the same time, Rogue, he's just flooding straight into the natural. Speaking of being out of position, SHIN is out of position. He's racing on over. Lings, they flood into the mineral lines. Mutas, they pull away. And Queens are going down. Drones are going down as well. Critical damage here at the natural. At the same time, SHIN attempts his own run by, but Rogue, he can afford spine crawlers. He can afford the spines. I would say these mutas, they could have hit the northern base. They could have hit this expansion. So there was a missed opportunity. The mutas, they raced back home. There was nothing to defend against. Like the spine crawlers, they held their own. So I do think that Rogue could have achieved more damage, but at the same time, he's ahead anyway. Like he's like he still killed 12 drones. He still killed 12 workers. Like Rogue is still fine. As you mentioned, because he's ahead, he can afford 2 spine crawlers here on the other side as well. Oh, mutas, they just engage. They commit. Yeah, SHIN, he just said screw it. He A moves in, and SHIN will not win this fight. He will not win this fight. There are too many mutas here for Rogue. Rogue, he will dominate, and with that, Rogue, he will claim a lead in the series. Lings, they do hit the right-hand side. GG gets called, and Rogue takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. A brutal game here for SHIN, winding it back. There were some cheeky moments, some cheeky moves, but what was most important here? Both players got into their 3 base economies, and Rogue did have the faster lair, did have faster gases, did have the faster spire, had faster and more mutas as a result. All because of the early to mid game, all because of the better economy there from Rogue. If you remember, what did SHIN do? SHIN, he went for an early roach push, and he was hoping he could force an overreaction out of Rogue. But Rogue, he was already greedy, right? Rogue, he already, and SHIN didn't know this if you recall, but Rogue, he had already taken his gases, he had already gotten a faster lair, and he got away with it as well, and he didn't really lose much to the Bailing run by at the 3rd base. So Rogue took a lead early, and then he maintained that lead throughout the entirety of the game. SHIN basically fell behind from that moment. He fell behind from the moment he went for the early roach push, and he stayed behind. And that's the hard thing about mirror matchups in general, is that very often if you watch PvPs or TVTs, PvP and ZVZ mostly, it's different for TVT because TVT there are more ways to come back with a lower supply, just because of how tanks work. Like in TVT you can be down like 20-30 supply, but if you're the first player to siege up, you can win a fight. Like that. So TVT is a little bit different. But for the other matchups for PvP and ZVZ, if you fall behind, it is very difficult to make up for that. Not impossible, but it is difficult. As again, you have to rely on Ling run-bys or Bailing run-bys, counterattacks. But the reason why it's more difficult in ZVZ is because of overlords, right? Because there are overlords everywhere, you technically should never get across the map unscouted when it comes to run-bys and counterattacks like that. So it is more difficult to make up for that. Oh, let's go! As we're 12 pulling. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg getting 12 pulled. It is a SHIN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player. The red Zerg player himself. We have the South Korean Zerg going for the 12 pull. It is Rogue. Carapace is better for me to pursue me because of bounces. That is not true. As I tried to explain during the broadcast, +1 Carapace is better when you have less meters. +1 flyer attack is better when you have more meters. So the upgrade does depend on who was ahead in the meter count and the meter lead. Rogue did play it safe by going into Carapace, but he had the opportunity to go into +1 fire attack instead. Here we go. Here we go. As here comes the 12 pool. Lings are moving out. Bearing in mind that Rogue here... Hello. Wait, what? Oh, he's going for the ninja base. Ah. Okay, the mind games. So a couple of things here. A 12 pool is not an all-in. Bear that in mind. A 12 pool is technically a macro build. It is designed to get you ahead and then to macro into the mid game. Because Rogue didn't go for the natural, he's making it look like a 12 pool drone pool 1 base all-in. Like he's making it look more committed than it is. So when the Overlord shows up and when SHIN sees no expansion, he should have a knee-jerk stronger reaction to this. When really, Rogue is going for a standard 12 pool just with a hidden natural instead. So this is less committed than it is, and he wants to force an overreaction. As Lings, they do arrive. They peg away at the natural. Ooh, yep, SHIN, he responds to spine crawlers. And because SHIN sees no natural base, in SHIN's mind, he might even think that it's okay to lose his own expansion, as he is not pulling the boys. Yeah, you can see here another spine crawler. This is an overreaction. Against this build, you can pull the boys and fight with your Lings and defend. But these spine crawlers make it look like he's ready to lose his base. And he will. He will lose the expansion. Ay. And again, if SHIN knew, if he knew there was an expansion across the map, he would have fought for this. He would have fought for the base instead. But he gives it up. He gives it up and Rogue takes the lead. Ay. Even here surrounding the Lings, getting better pickoffs. He knows that he's going to kill the base, so why rush? Getting more value, more damage. Kills the expansion. Gets the hell out of here. And Rogue has... And now he sees. No, now SHIN sees. Ay. Now SHIN sees the base, and now SHIN is all in. SHIN is going for the Bane the Nest, is going for Ling speed. SHIN is completely all in at this point. Feels bad, man. Winding it back just to quickly touch on the defense here. If SHIN was aware that there was a base, then he would not have gone the spine crawlers. As you saw, the spines were useless. The spines didn't do anything. The spine crawlers would have been used full if it was like a 12-11 or a 13-12 or a 1 base all-in, right? Then the spines would have been useful, but here they were a waste. The spine crawlers were a waste. He could have pulled the boys, could have defended his natural. Rogue with the mind games. And it's all or nothing for SHIN. Rogue and SHIN agree with both +1 Carapace. If you recall, I mentioned that Rogue played it safe by going into Carapace, just because he wasn't... I mean, again, you can never really be sure that you do have that advantage over your opponent when it comes to the mute accounts. If you listen to the explanation as to the upgrades. As the Banelings, they roll in. And we pick up a couple of Lings here. The Queens are in position so far. One Queen gets around it, not bad. One queen is surrounded. Can we deny the Banelings? There's 2 Banelings all the way. Oh god, one finishes. Both finish actually. Yeah, both 2 completes. They both go off. And again, SHIN, he has to end the game, Pappy. Oh. He does have to end the game. So far, he's dealt no major damage. Rogue is still ahead. SHIN peeling off some lings, trying to be cheeky. He gets spotted, he gets shut down. And Rogue, he holds. Rogue, he defends. Rogue is ahead. 29 drones to 23. Again, just a massive mind game here from Rogue. Ay, ay, ay. Yes, from here, Rogue just has to drone. Just drone up, get his third base, contain his opponent, and get further ahead. From SHIN's position here, the best chance he has is to turn this into a 2-base all-in. SHIN is going to have a faster lair. He can go for a Nidus all-in from here. He can try to go 2-base Muta, I suppose. It's taking all 4 gases, so there are a couple of tech options available here, whether it's Nidus all-in or Muta play. Like, SHIN, he has to think outside the box here. Gotta think outside the box. He's also hoping that Rogue doesn't scout. Because Rogue has a later layer, Rogue has no Overseer, so true. Rogue has limited scouting information. He has limited scouting. Oh, he's just going for an all-in. That makes sense. So basically, Rogue takes a lead, Rogue is ahead, and Rogue, to make use of that lead, he's just going for an all-in. So it's going to be a Ling Roach all-in. That is why there's no lair. It's similar to game 1 between Rogue and SHIN, where SHIN didn't get the lair either for his early Roach push. So SHIN is going 2-base Muta, and Rogue, he's all-in. He's moving out across the map. His goal here is to kill before any Mutas come into play. We have 5 Spine Coils potentially in production here. 3 Spine Coils are done. We have 4 more behind this. Oh my god. We have a forest of spines. And SHIN, he's hoping, he's praying, Pappy. I hate these lings. They're buying time. They're distracting. They're trying to distract. We have how many Banelings? We have 12 Banelings, soon to be 15. Oh my god. A lot of them stack. Very nice connections for SHIN. SHIN, he connects as best he can. Oof. Banelings, they smash in, Spine Coolers are going down, and Rogue is on it. Rogue is on it. He has broken the natural here. Boys are being pulled. Lings, they flood on in. And we have what? We have 4 more Spines on the way. They're slowly finishing up. We have more Lings in production as well, but there's a Baneling. Yeah, Baneling is being held on to, connects with the Spines. GG gets called, and Rogue, he will claim the series 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Rogue, he will claim the series. He will advance on to the decider match. GG, well played. Again, a very cheeky build here by Rogue. Once again, just to reiterate, Rogue, he went for a hidden natural base to make it look like he was 1-base all-in. He made it look like he was either going for a 12-11 or a 13-12, when really he was just going for a 12-pull expand. And SHIN, he did overreact. Or I say he overreacted. He did react correctly to what he had spotted, but again, he got metagamed essentially. He got metagamed, he got mind gamed. Instead, we saw that SHIN, he intentionally gave up on the natural. He intentionally threw down 2 Spine Crawlers because it was ready for an all-in that never came. That never did come. GG, well played. With that, we have Rogue advancing on to the next round to face off against Cyan to find out the final player to make it through. Let's go. Un momento, papi, un momento. So we're just catching up here. But here we go. As mentioned, so Clem, he took down Cyan earlier in the winners match. Rogue took down SHIN in the elimination match. And now we have the final series of the broadcast. It's going to be Rogue versus Cyan in a ZVP. Let's go. Let us go. That is going to be the final series of the broadcast. We did see Cyan take down SHIN earlier and make use of this more robust kind of Colossus-heavy composition and Colossus-heavy style. I'm sure Rogue was watching, and we'll see how Rogue will adapt. We'll see how he will adapt. We'll see how he will adjust. As we're going to be loading into Celestial Enclave. Let's go. Let us go. Spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Celestial, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player. Hello. We have the red Protoss player himself. We have the Chinese Protoss. It is Cyan. So it's coming in here for the block, and he can actually force a really awkward position out of Rogue here to expand on the low ground. So we'll see as Rogue does move out. Again, this was a much earlier probe, much earlier probe here instead of the gate scout or the gate move out across the map. So despite Rogue going for the 15, hatch, he is still denied. Yeah, forced to take the pocket base instead. So nice start here for our Protoss player. Meanwhile, I will fix up the player names. Bam. Un momento. Filters red. From here we are going to be building up. Likewise, Rogue will have a weaker economy early on because he now has half a base instead of a proper natural. So already forcing a weaker economy, and that might even force Rogue to take a faster third as well. Yeah, he is. Okay, so Rogue, he's going to be delaying queen production. He'll be delaying queens in favor of a faster expansion. So Rogue, he's forced into a greedier build. And we'll see how Cyan responds. So as you can see here, Rogue's second and third queen are going to be delayed because of the faster hatchery. So lower queen counts. Likewise, Rogue, he does pull out of gas as well to go into minerals faster, so he's going to have delayed link speed as well, more so than usual. And we'll see if Cyan wants to... Cyan supply blocks. Oh god, that's a big supply block actually. No! Again, this is a nice start for Cyan, but shaky follow-up here. A little bit shaky. As he's rushing to a farm. Oh my god, talk about greed. Okay. So we have a forced greedy build out of Rogue to try to make up for his early game. Meanwhile, we have a gate expanded Cybercore into a fast third Nexus before tech. So a hyper greedy build here by Cyan. But this is something you can get away with on Celestial. Remember, Celestial Enclave is one of the larger maps in the map pool, has a pocket base, so you can cut these corners. Technically, you can go even further than this, and you can just go straight into like a Void Ray, Fleet Beacon, second Stargate into like a Tempest Rush or a Carrier Rush. Cyan has that option if he wants to. Even going Sentry first as well. Oh. What does Sentry first mean? This means that he can't harass with Adepts. Like there's zero harassment, there's zero aggression. Instead, he's going for Hallucination to scout. And yep, it is Void Ray first. So there's a high chance we see Void Ray into Fleet Beacon. Now we have seen some Protoss players be quite successful on this map by faking greed and faking like an economy and instead going for like a charge all in, right? Going Void Ray, then bam, Forge, Twilight Council, +1, charge, Gateway Explosion into a big all in, and catching Zerg players with their pants down. Like that is an option that you can go for here as well, is try to use the map against your opponents and use like expectations against your opponent as well, which is what Rogue did against SHIN. So you can try to mind game, but we're not seeing any kind of big tech structures yet. Overlord is hunted down. Show us your tech of choice. Oh, there it is. Oh, never mind. We saw Fleet Beacon we saw a Twilight Council for a moment there, but he cancelled and instead is going for the Fleet Beacon. Never mind. So he is going for the Tempest Rush. We're assuming there's going to be more Stargates here. Yeah, there it is. More Stargates. Like, technically, there is a build where you can go a single fleet beacon with a Stargate into like a mothership and go into a heavy ground army and then like recall across the map. There are some niche builds in such a way, but we now have the second Stargate. Now, the style that we're seeing here from Cyan is very common on this map, so this should be in the back of Rogue's mind. Rogue, he hasn't scouted the main base. Rogue, he doesn't know for certain what's going on, but Rogue should know that this is a possibility. Oh, and we're not going for the Tempest Rush, we are indeed going for the Carrier Rush. Let's go. Carrier rushes are typically more aggressive. Tempest, they're more efficient and they build up over time. They can gain a lot of value over time. Carriers, they can allow for a really strong early timing, especially if this goes unscouted. The problem is that it is unscouted, but Rogue is still going for the faster Spire because again, because of how common this kind of style is. The Skytel specifically. If Rogue was just going Ling Roach with Queens, and if he was not actually respecting or responding to this heavy greedy play, then this could work. But Corruptor is hard counter carrier this early on. Like if Rogue, if he was going like a Roach into Hydra or Ling Bane into Hydra, then there's an opening here. But he confirms. He confirms the carriers. Rogue should be feeling good about this. And we just need those Corruptors. Ay. Oh no, the wall's open. Yeah, the wall's at the wall. Links, they flood into the main. A nice force field, but they flood into the natural. And they kill the sentry. Sentry goes down. Thankfully, no major damage. But does catch the sentry. Here come the Corruptors. Now, I do appreciate this, especially because of the scouts. So what do you see here? You see 2 carriers, plus 1 flyer attackers on the way. Of course, Cyan got scouted, and then bam, ground switch. You know, Blink is on the way, plus 1, massive gateway explosion. I do really like this. We'll just see how slow or how fast this hits. I do think this is smart, but I'm a little bit concerned this is too late. Once again, Cyan is trying to build up. Thankfully for Rogue, he's not neglecting his ground army. Plus 2 ranges on the way. Corruptors, they move in. They're going for the Nexus. Going for the cannon. Never mind. Stalkers are revealed. Yeah, the Stalkers are revealed, and now Rogue knows. Instantly, we have Roaches on the way. A Link should be in production. Baliness for Rogue as well. He's switching into a ground army. He now knows. As Rogue, he does lure the army out, catching out the Stalkers. Every carrier will fall. Gets 1, gets 2. You could argue here that now we have some dead supply and Corruptors, but that's why we have not been neglecting the ground army. More Roaches on the way. More Zerglings as well. There's still that Oracle. So the Corruptors, they go across the map, and we'll see if they can find an angle here on top of the Nexus. They can. Yeah, they can find an angle. They get past the cannon. Stalkers are moving in. Going for the Cybercore. Okay, interesting. Meanwhile, Cyan, he dives on the army, though. Yeah, Roaches gets surrounded, and he might break through. He might just barely break through here. Roaches go down. Ravagers, there's only 3 of them left. Lings do reinforce. Lings, they punish. And Cyan, does he have enough? Cybercore goes down. No more Stalkers. Only Zealots. Only slow loss to reinforce instead. Yeah, Roki's barely holding on. That was a very close defense. He did bleed out a lot of roaches, a lot of ravagers. But he's holding on. Caustic Spray is now off of cooldown, and does he go for an expansion? I feel like he can. Ooh, the upgrades. Okay, going for +2 and for charge. There's only one Corruptor Caustic Spraying down the Twilight Council, but he does get the final. Oh my god. Depowers everything. No. Doesn't kill the tech, but does depower. Delay on the upgrades. I feel like there was opportunity to go for the Forge and go for the Twilight Council instead, but it's fine. He still delays. As Rogue is maxed. Rogue is maxed out. Production's repowered. This time going for the Nexus. This looks a little bit ambitious. And Nexus does get low though. Oh my god. He gets it. Just barely. Nexus goes down. Stalkers are out of position. Main army rolls in. Yeah, busts into the mineral line. Massive connections. Oh my god. The probes are deep in the red. They're deep in the red. Get out of here. Oh my god. As we leave the base alive. 12 HP. Rogi pulls away. He backs off. He rebuilds his Link Bane. And we should be doing that again. Meanwhile, Cyan has maxed out. He's maxed out with his ground army here. He's got a couple of Archons, a couple of Immortals. Stalks a blink into the Ravagers. Bold move. Get some okay bailing connections, but Zelsay break on through. Cyan, can he pull this off? Barely any bailings left. Corruptors, they do Cortex down the expansion. Nexus does fall. Regularly getting value with those Corruptors. Catching up the War Prism. Prism goes down, so we have the Greater Spiral on the way for Broodlords. Rogue taking up. Nice little run by. Oh my god. It gets into the middle line. Drone's going down. Cyan fighting back. Does get the expansion. Takes down half a mineral line. Takes down a hatchery as well. Again, one of the reasons why Rogue is struggling as he is because he's still stuck on Link Bane Roach Ravager instead of going into Lurkers. Remember, his kind of end goal here is going to be Broodlords. As Corruptors, they do take down another Nexus. Another base falls. These Corruptors, they can race back home. They can morph into Broodlords. And right now, there's no answer. Right? There's no answer to Broodlord. They're coming home. Greater Spire is done. Now we just need supply. Rogue has to free up some supply here to make room for the Broodlords. Nice bailing run by. Means they do go for the expansion. Prism goes down to the spores. And here come the Broodlords. Broodlords are morphing in. We have 8 Broodlords being morphed in. There's no Sky Toss, no Tempest. There's no good answer for the Broodlords. They're coming in, Pat. Rogue is pushing to the center. It does push to the center, engaging with the main army. Stalkers, they cannot commit. Oh god. Not like this. Prism goes down to the Biles. Storm's being forced on Lingbane. And the army's just zoned away. Yeah, the army is zoned away. The expansion is now exposed. And Cyan is going for the base trade. He's going for the base trade. But Rogue, yeah, can just turn around. No, there's not enough Stalkers here. Yeah, there's not enough Stalkers. Broodlords, they turn around. They can hunt down the High Templar. Banelings, they do smash in. Oof. Just crashing into the Templar. Cyan just trying to buy some time. Doesn't really have much left over. He's out of gas. And again, it was a cheeky build here from Cyan and a cheeky kind of follow-up as well. Going for the mass ground switch after the carrier rush, but it just took a little bit too long to really get going. And GG gets called. GG gets called. Rogie takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, a cheeky build here by Cyan, winding it back. Remember, he did open up a double Stargate Fleet Beacon into Carrier Rush, but he got scouted. He got shut down. And because he got scouted, he made a big switch into Mass Blink Stalker. Despite that, though, the Corruptors found so much damage when it comes to hunting down the carriers, when it comes to sniping bases. They killed, what, like 3 Nexi throughout the course of that game, maybe even 4 bases. They were able to deny upgrades, slow down tech. They achieved a lot of damage despite only getting 2 carriers initially. The value was there, and eventually it built up into the Broodlords. GG, well played. I would say that the pressure was on Cyan to try to end the game before that, to try to end the game early and strike, you know, with all those Wing Stalkers. And he did have some decent fights. If you remember, he barely didn't break through. Like, there was a moment where he pushed out across the map, he dove on the Roach Ravager army, and he was able to almost reset the Ravager count, but he just barely didn't have enough. GG, well played. I think that was after he lost the Cybercore, or as he was losing the Cybercore. So that's also maybe factors into it. If he hadn't lost the Cybercore, then he reinforces with Stalkers, and maybe he keeps going. But GG, well played. With that, we're getting into game number 2. Going to be loading into Winter Madness. Let's go. Another one of these larger maps. Not as greedy as Celestial, for sure. Not as greedy. But let us go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner here, Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Zerg player, we have the blue Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Hold on, I'll fix it up. Un momento. There we go. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself, the Chinese Protoss. It is Cyan. Here we go. And again, it was so fortunate, winding it actually further back than that. If you remember, Rogue, he was blindly going for the Spire. Like, he didn't even scout the second Stargate. He didn't even scout the Fleet Beacon at the time. He scouted it, confirmed it afterwards, but he already had the Spire halfway done. Like, he had already reacted. As we were mentioning, the build that we had gone for Cyan would have worked wonders if Rogue was playing Standard. If he was going into Lingbane Roach Ravager, or if he was going into Lingbane Hydra. But because of the map and because 2-base Sky Toss is very common on Celestial, like Rogue, he already had that Spire on the way. He already had it. But here we go. For now, though, we are going to be settling in. And this time we should be seeing a very different build out of Cyan. No shall we see another fast Fleet Beacon, and no shall we see another fast like Carrier or Tempest Rush. Not here. So now it is going to be Hatch Gas Pool, Standard Opener out of Rogue, likewise a Gate Expand out of our Protoss player. So we're just calming down. Now we have our Stargate opener out of our Protoss, out of Cyan. From here, we should be opening up Oracle. There's a chance for Void Ray, but you often don't go Void Ray and Stalker. The Stalker is designed to hunt down the Overlord. And we should be seeing the Oracle follow-up. As the Overlord is trapped. Oh, trying to get out of here, okay. Get out of there, Pappy. Get out of there. Okay, never mind. It is going to be that Void Ray opener, so he will hunt down the Overlords, ideally. There's currently 2 Overlords on the map, one here in the center, one on the right-hand side. We'll see what he can get. Likewise, once again, after a Void Ray opener, you can hide tech and try to be more committed, whether it's at the Fleet Beacon, Stargate, Twilight Council, Robo, Forge. Like, there are options here. Doesn't have to hide tech, but he could. Yo, meanwhile, Esther, Flipper, Flapjack, Pappy, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great time, Pappy. Thank you. Hope you had a great time. And that is a Twilight Council before expand. Ooh, hyper aggression here out of Cyan. No third base yet. Overlord moves out, and sorry, the Void Ray moves out and the Overlord moves in. Yeah, Cyan, he missed the Overlord. With this Gateway Explosion, it does look like a Glaive Adepts. Technically, it could be charge. Oh, as the Overlord is going to be zoned away. Overlord is zoned away. Back at home, Rogue is droning. Safety Roach Warren. And shows the upgrade of choice. There's no Forge. There is no Forge, Pappy. And it is Glaive Adepts. So we're getting Glaives here out of our Protoss, out of Cyan. If Rogue didn't have a safety Roach Warren, I'd be concerned, but he does have the tools to defend. He has the tools. And Rogue, he knows that even though Rogue didn't scout the tech, he did scout the late third. Like, the third base is very late, and he knows that. That's why we saw the early Roach Warren. Rogue, he's getting up to 2 base saturation, now getting his third up and running. Taking gases. These 3 Adepts, that's pretty normal. This is not a sign of aggression yet. Like, seeing up to 6 Adepts early on is not really much of a tell. Something that is a bit of a tell is the lack of second Oracle. There's only 1. In a standard game, there'd be multiple Oracles, but because there's only 1, you must be thinking, like, where's that gas being spent? Overseer, sorry, we have Overlord Speed on the way. Lair is done. You can see here that Rogue, he's walling up. He even killed his own tumor. And what Rogue is doing is he's getting ready for the defense and for the offense. With Overlord Speed, we can follow up after the defense with a German taxi. So here come the Adepts. Roach production has begun. Rogue, he droned up to 59. I mean, that's a pretty high drone count. Has he been too greedy? Loving the wall. Yeah, has Rogue been too greedy? Roaches are trickling in. Do we have a transfuse? We do. Transfuse on the Queen. And clutch transfuse. Trying to hold the line. Adepts, they break through the Roaches. They're getting to the mineral line. Again, Roaches are trying to reinforce. They're trying to. Can he get in? Queens are going down. So far, good damage. Adepts, they break through all 3 Queens. Getting into the mineral line. At least trying to. Yeah, they're trying to get in. They shade into the natural. Drones are now going down, getting 5 drone kills already. But again, my big concern is the follow-up. 7 drones, that's great and all. Void Ray goes down. 12 drones going down. 14. Oh my god, these two Adepts, they're going crazy. It's 16. 17 drone kills. This is critical damage. Rogue is all in. Rogue, he's completely all in. He's got a counterattack here and now. And again, he already has Roach speed and he has Overlord speed as well. The drop alerts are coming. There's going to be a very strong all in here from Rogue. Back at home, Cyan just has to survive. Shield batteries, cannons, immortal production. Do we have a Robo? Oh, no Robo. Yeah, there's no defensive Robo, there's no defensive Immortals. Blink will be done in time. And we'll see if Cyan can survive this. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close defense. It's going to be very clutch. Either Rogue kills Cyan or he dies trying. As Rogue, the first stasis goes off. First stasis does connect. We have 2 more behind this. Now the stasis is going off on a couple of roaches. The queens, they drop in. And they can transfuse. Remember, they can spread creep. They can transfuse. That's a lot of cannons, a lot of shield by finishing up. We got a wave of stalkers behind this. Cyan, can he hold on here? Cleans up all the Zerglings. Roaches, they're having an awkward time pushing in. That's a lot of roaches going down. Cyan is holding. He's holding on back. Yeah, more warpins, more stalkers. Rogue, he's running out of steam. As he does get a stalker kill. Miscontrol out of Cyan. Oh, losing 2 stalkers. Oh my god, the miles. Yeah, Cyan not paying attention. Where were the blinks? Where was the blink control? Cybercore goes down. Rogue, he can still pull this off. It's not easy. But he's slowly working through those stalkers, breaks through the shield batteries. Again, we did have some miscontrol out of Cyan. With Ling reinforcements, Rogue is getting to the mineral line. Yeah, he's slowly getting to the mineral line. A clutch transfuse. Vile's forcing out micro. Forcing out control. And it's still such a close defense here. It's still so close. He blinks in. The boys are being pulled. Yeah, it does pull the boys. At last, Lings are going to reinforce. Biles are connecting. Massive Biles. And the Lings is too much. Yeah, the Lings, they prove to be too much here. Again, it was a very close defense. I do think that if we had a little bit more focused blink control in the middle of the fight, then maybe that would have been enough to defend. Again, it was close, but Rogue, he does break through. Lings, they peel up into the mineral line. More probes are going down. The natural has been broken. Stalkers are being kept busy. More probes are going down, and this is critical damage. This is now critical damage. And again, I could have seen this game going to the ace match. I could have seen this going to the ace match, but barely done enough. Contamination on the warp gate. The final probes are going down as well. Critical damage to the main base. GG gets called, and Rogue, he will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the playoffs. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations, Rogue. You will claim the series. Again, that was a very, very clutch defense. I do feel like if Cyan, if he had maybe been able to focus a little bit more, preserve and take after those stalkers, or look after those stalkers a little bit more, then maybe he could have been able to pull off that defense. But alas, he played out a lot of stalkers halfway through that fight, losing 3, 4, 5 stalkers. He also had a crazy blink into the Ravagers, where he also bled out even more stalkers as well. Some rough decisions, some rough control there, and in the end, Rogue did overwhelm. GG. GG, well played. Rogue, he did break through, and with that, Rogue, he will advance on in 2nd place. Let's go. Let's catch up on the bracket itself here. Whew, as that does wrap up our broadcast here for the morning, we did have Group B taking place. We had Clem, Rogue, SHIN, and Cyan, and in the end, we had a pretty crazy turn of events here. Cyan, he was able to pop off earlier. Cyan, he took down SHIN 2-1. Impressive showing there from Cyan. Clem, he was able to bring down Rogue 2-1. We also had a bit of a back and forth. We had a more aggressive Clem being shown off here, and some of that aggression was punished by Rogue, some of it, but in a longer, more macro game, Clem, he did showcase his prowess in Game 2 and Game 3. Coming into a series against Cyan, we did see that Clem was the aggressor, 100%. He was much more aggressive against Cyan. He broke Cyan early and didn't allow him to really gain any control of the map itself. Cyan was lacking map control. Coming into the ZVZ, SHIN and Rogue was a very chaotic back and forth, with Rogue going for some cheeky builds, some hidden tech structures, some hidden bases as well, and SHIN was caught with his pants down, so SHIN was the first player to be eliminated from the group. Cyan was the second, as Rogue did bring him down, but I could have totally seen this series going to the ace match, for sure. Could have seen a Game 3, but GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. Clem and Rogue advanced to the playoffs, to the quarterfinals. Congratulations. When it comes to the rest of LiuLi Cup, we're going to be covering Group C and Group D, but that is going to be at a later date. Our next broadcast here on the channel is going to be this evening at 9 p.m. AEST. That's going to be at 7 p.m. KST. Bam, you can see it here on our schedule. That is going to be in 7 hours. 7 hours time, we're going to be live with Sparkling Tuna Cup here on the CranKy Ducklings. That is our weekly open tournament. After the Tuna Cup is going to be the Euthermal 2v2 circuit. That's going to be afterwards in the evening. Tomorrow we're going to be live with the Wardy TV Monday. That's going to be tomorrow evening as well. That's going to be tomorrow. Then we have LiuLi Cup Group C on Tuesday. So just as a heads up, we don't have a LiuLi Cup broadcast tomorrow. It's going to be on Tuesday instead. It's going to be on Tuesday morning. But throughout the course of the week, we have Wardy TV Monday, we have LiuLi Cup, we have Pegasus Cup as well. We have more Tuna Cup and more Sea Duckling Open. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft throughout the course of the week. As always, again, we cast more StarCraft than any other channel out there. We cast more than Wardy, we cast more than Steadfast. We have the quantity, and we have a little bit of the quality as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. When it comes to like the greater scope of things, March we should be able to catch up with everything. So if you remember, unfortunately we were very unavailable in January. There were some things happening IRL, so we didn't really get to cast much. We cast like every other day in January. So we did miss out on quite a bit, and we did fall behind as a result, and we're playing catch up. So we caught up with Thunderfire, we caught up with Rongi Cup, we caught up with Homestory Cup. We're now catching up with LiuLi Cup, and we're also playing catch up with some Pegasus Cups, with some Wardy TV Mondays, and with StarCraft Evolution as well. So there's a lot of tournaments that. And also Code for Giants Cup as well. Jesus, there's just so much StarCraft going on, so much going on. And even with us casting like twice a day or even daily and twice a day whenever we can, it's still not enough to fully catch up yet. But March, like around halfway through towards the end of March, we should be able to wrap everything up and then, you know, have a bit of a leaner casting schedule. Ideally, one cast a day, one cast a day. But until then, we're playing catch up. We'll get there. We'll get there. I mean, I say we'll get there. By the time we catch up, RSL playoffs are going to be live, so we're going to have to catch up with the RSL as well. So, oh god. And then Star Zagora. True. Don't forget about Star Zagora. That's also around the corner as well. Jesus. That's going to be in May. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments on a regular basis. If you want to help support our Open Cups and our amateur events, they're all funded via the Patreon. So you can help us grow those prize pools to even greater heights and support even more players. You can help us out there if you wish. Otherwise, you can also support us by following us on YouTube. !Socials in the chat. We do post whenever we go live on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, on Discord as well. And we also have a YouTube channel where we do stream on a daily basis. We're streaming both on Twitch and on YouTube and on Kick. We do have all three platforms, and on Facebook as well. We're streaming on all four platforms. We used to stream on TikTok. We actually had a lot of viewership on TikTok, but they did stop that, put an end to that, just because I guess they weren't really fond of commentary and casting StarCraft instead of playing games. Like, they have their own like rule set, their own restrictions, which is a little bit unfortunate in regards to what can be live streamed. But yeah, with that, we're going to be wrapping up. Again, if you want to support us and if you missed out on any content, if you want to watch, Group A of LiuLi Cup, or if you want to watch Homestory Cup playoffs or Homestory Cup group stage, or Thunderfire or Rongi Cup, or anything else that we cast, the Podcast on a weekly basis, that's our weekly talk show, our weekly podcast. It's all on YouTube. It's all on YouTube. It's all uploaded on a regular basis. It is all there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support, and we'll see you guys next time. We'll see you guys in 7 hours for some more StarCraft. Ciao, bye, ciao. Hasta luego.